Yeah, so at the beginning of the meeting, we have your communications. We set aside so, the public can address us.
Oh, sure.
Sure.
Will you stand up or can I just? Okay, I think we get that informal, so
Sure.
let's sit down.
Maybe we can close the doors.
That is a question. We should keep one of the so that people know that we're
Maybe,
here.
maybe put a jar on the door that is a meeting. Just so a note you could put on the door. There's a meeting.
I think we just close the conference.
I think we ought to put a note there because people don't know what it is. So can you do that for me, please? You can? Well, how about, can you do that? Could you get Sandy to put a note to say there's a meeting? Thank you.
So my name is Anu, and I've worked in this area for 20 years, in Rancho area. And, could you speak louder, sorry?
I'm recording it, so.
Well, I'm going to record about it. Try to speak loud if I will get at least, and hopefully that will help. So my name is Anu, and I've lived in this area for 20 years. And, I've been aware of this center, but never really used it for anything, not for swimming, not for, renting it for any event or anything like that at all. And, some of these implications and discussions on the next door list have certainly been a wake-up call for me as to, I need to take more responsibility in how this center is being used. Not merely because our property taxes are going to, that's an important issue, yes, but not because of that. It does seem like from what I've read, what I've seen described, that there is at least some impropriety, not legally otherwise. And I think that needs to be addressed. I cannot, share all the suggestions or all my questions in this one comment. Therefore, I'm suggesting, well, I have one main question for today, which is, if someone could describe what ways in which the manager or the board, one of you can answer the question, how does the center keep in touch with the residents of Rancho? Is there a mailing list? Is there a newsletter, etc.? Like what avenues are there for people to learn about what's going on in the center? That's the main question. But I have a bunch of other questions, so I would like a suggestion from you all as to how I can send those questions to you. Maybe you all can have an event where it's just Rancho residents and the board sort of talks to people and responds to any question from anyone, like an open house of questions. I think we need that. There might be people like me who have been in the area, just have no idea how this place works or why they haven't been heard from.
Absolutely.
So that I'll stop there, but the first question would be, what efforts are being made by the center to turn people to the area and inform the programs going on? About what kind of programs exist here, or even suggestions from the area's residents, what efforts are being made? Because I have never heard from anyone to let me know this is what's going on, come join us, or what do you think should be going on? Would you like to join us? Give us I've never heard that. I feel that should be responsibility of the board.
I can answer some of that. The reason why I have gone public with this is because, number one, I am the one vote, and these guys are the 4 vote. So I don't get to say a lot because I get shut up, or they glaze over, or so. For the past year, actually for 2 years, I have been very concerned about what goes on here as far as who runs the meeting, who makes the motions, and how the money is spent, and conflicts and all kinds of things. So I went public with it, and I asked Sophie to run on the board because there was an empty seat. And Sophie has been amazing at uncovering stuff that I never even dreamed of. So, and one of the big things was the Oasis Swim School that I found out about, and, well, I actually found
Is
out.
that actually allowed for the public to, speak?
See what I mean?
Well, for the, there
I'm
is a
answering
spot,
your
you have a spot, well, this was not the time, is this time for to take questions?
She asked me a question, I'm answering it.
You have a spot on the third row about the Oasis. Can we come?
I have,
I think that's
See
fair
what I
enough.
mean?
I
This
just
is what
want,
happens.
Liam's always saying,
thank you, so.
and my question was really about, what efforts are being made on behalf of the board, the manager of the center, to reach out to people in this area and to inform them and to solicit suggestions. That is my question for today. We have more, but, 3 minutes or 1 minute can't cover it, so I'm gonna, just that one question for today. Yeah. So we can get to it whenever.
My name is Virginia, and I first want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to come in and just to share. I'm a parent from, my kids are on the swim team. This is our 10th year here, coming to Rancho. And, I know that you guys have done a lot behind the scenes, so I want to take this opportunity to thank you for doing that. But, more, what I have observed from all the past 10 years, I really want to say thank you to the team, the coaches, the staff in the office, and it is amazing how hard they work throughout the year. You see a lot of families, a lot of things going on, and we don't always know all the details, but just from our experiences, this is our community. I actually come from pretty far. I come from Rancho, but we've been coming here for the past 10 years, and I asked my kids, you guys want to switch to a different team? It was really, the traffic was getting really difficult, but they said no, because, and I found out because how much the coaches, the staff, they put into the invested in the kids. They really want to help them grow and not only coach them in sports, but in life skills, and they actually become a lot of amazing friendships formed, and they're still together right now. I mean, I have a son that is already in college, but every time he comes back, he has to come back to visit, and this is like their community, like home to them, So I just wanna take this opportunity to say thank you to all the board members, and thank you for how they work really hard to make this place run really well. My kids just have been so blessed, and this is a great place for them to learn leadership too, because they grow from being the kids of the team and then to become the instructors. It's just an amazing place for my family, for my kids to grow and to receive all the blessings from all.
I remember you from another meeting we had a couple months ago, you came, right?
I think it was last year, right?
No, I think it was actually a couple months ago.
Yeah, it was just a couple months ago.
And, appreciate you making the effort to come again.
I just, wanted to let you know that everything that you've done for Rancho is appreciated. And I really enjoy having that, not only the relationship with the coaches, with the staff. I mean, it's really beyond just the sports program. It's really beyond that.
Thank you. I guess you were.
Hi, my name is Jessica Jasper. I'm a resident in the neighborhood. I'm a huge believer in public programs. I think they're vital for our youth and our elderly and everyone in between. I actually benefited, I was on swim team when I grew up, became a lifeguard and became a head lifeguard instructor. So I really benefited from that, and I found that it supported myself through college with it. And I feel like it's a really important thing to be of service in a community in that way. Now that I've lived here in a community for the past 3 years, I've driven by and I've always wanted to come in, but my work schedule hasn't allowed it, but I'm really grateful for the resource. I think in this past year, as I've been looking through, election materials and such, I was actually quite amazed that we have a board for it, because my previous experience attached to either a city or a county pool. So I understand that this may not be the forum, but I would appreciate a little bit more visibility on, is this a standalone thing outside of a government? Why is that? Why does it require a 5 or 6 person board? Why do we have, from what I can understand, like 70 people? It feels a little overhead to me compared to my previous experience. But of course I understand that the services are vital and I'm a big believer in it. I would just, as a taxpayer, want to understand it. And I know this isn't the forum, but I just wanted to express that.
Thank you. It's a special district, that would be a place to start. I mean, for research, if you want to know more.
Great, and if the board
Yeah.
has any websites or something for me to look at, that would be great.
I don't think I have something that you like. I don't have a lot of copies of this, but yeah.
Does anyone need another agenda? There's a couple more up here. We have 2 more? I got 3 more. What's it? Would you like one? Our last one.
Are there any other persons? Yes?
Yeah, I wanted to speak. My name is Sophia Bedio. I actually just was on the ballot to be a board member. And I am here today because I was kind of concerned about what I found online and what I didn't find online. I think one of the things that kind of disappointed me the most was the fact that the board is supposed to oversee the decisions of what's best for the pool, and I felt like a lot of decisions weren't really made with that intent. The other thing that kind of bothered me too was I had gone through all the financial reports. I have my degree from Santa Clara University. I was an accounting major, then became a finance major. And one thing that really kind of disappointed me was the fact that I felt, what's the word? I felt that the people on the board who are supposed to oversee it could not make explanations of the financial statements. And I thought that was not a good thing. I went to the controller's office in downtown San Jose. I talked to the accountant there. I found out exactly how much money the pool was getting for the last 6 years. And the fact that it was millions of dollars and the people who are supposed to oversee it did not know how to read the statements, I found that very disappointing. And I really think if people are going to oversee what's going on the board, they need knowledge. Everyone needs knowledge. People need to know how to read financial statements. People need to know basically, how to do a budget, how everything works, or else it's really hard to make this pool viable long-term and to give it the programs that people need and want in this community.
Completed?
What's that?
You're completed?
I'm completed, yeah.
Any other comments? Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I'm a parent. My son comes to
Would
the
you
swim
like to
here.
volunteer your name?
Sorry, my name is Chiming Wan. My son Daniel is on the swim team for 4 years now. We started taking swim lesson here, so I just want to thank you, the board, and thank you for the staff. We really like here. It's treats us for the community, even though we're not resident of here, we've been here by. We went to other swim school before, but compared with others, it really likes here. The coaches are very friendly and very good at communicating with the kids. And the swim team, the way it's run is really nice, and it's very, it's suitable for my son, and he likes it. So I just want to say their effort from the staff and the coaches are very, very appreciated. And we thank you to provide such a and incentive programs to the kids.
Thank you. There's, yes,
My name is Naomi. I live in the neighborhood and I actually, this might be different from what most people are asking about, but we're saying, I wanted to see if you guys would, be able to add like evening lap swim hours or weekend, because like, I'm a substitute teacher right now in the area, so I can't ever go to the 7 to 9 a.m. hours, because I like, actually, well, I've lived back in this area for like a year and a half, so I've been going to Fremont High School to swim. And like Fremont's nice and stuff, but it's always like super busy instead of high school, so we have to, do PE classes and then swim team and water polo in the evenings. But I mean, they have really convenient hours because they have 3 sessions. They have like 6 to 8 in the morning, Monday through Friday, 11 to 1 Monday through Friday, and 6 to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday, and they have Saturday and Sunday swim sessions, and like, compared to this pool, that's like way better, because it looks like you guys only have lap swim like 7 to 9 in the morning, Monday through Friday, so like, just for people like me who are adults, like, actually, if you somehow advertise that Fremont pool, I bet the lifeguards would actually be grateful, because there's always people like waiting for lanes. Like, I've had that a lot, so if you guys opened up evening hours, I bet you could like advertise at Fremont High School. Because like, a lot of the swimmers there are always like, it's so crowded. And there aren't actually that many options for outdoor swimming pools, or like, sort of for people who use them, or who are trying to swim a lot, like, I hate indoor pools, so I really like this pool. So like, it'd be really nice if you guys could offer that. So like, at least a couple evening lap swim times and at least 1 weekend. But I mean, right now it's only like 10 hours a week total for adult lap swim, which is like not very much.
thank you.
Thanks.
Allison? Do you have comment?
I'm just, here at the request of a couple of your residents here in Rinconada. And, I'm first of all, I've been asked as the mayor here. And, I'm bringing myself up to speed on some of these issues. I haven't sat through a Rancho Rinconada, rec center meeting, previously. And so I'm looking forward to, hearing some of the issues and just getting a sense of the, of the board's activities. But, thanks for having me and, so,
So, yeah, I'm Steve Sharp, I'm on the city council, the mayor's been following me around all day.
All day.
This is the 4th meeting we've had. So, yeah, I just was interested in what's going on, because I see all the controversy on that.
Thank you for calling,
Thank
both of you.
Appreciate it.
Are we complete with that? Anybody else? Okay. We thank you for your comments. Thank you for coming. And you're welcome to stay for our meeting so you can see how we conduct our business. Unless anybody else, should we move on to our
I've got communication, there's a Special Districts Association Leadership Academy which is coming up. This would be a good opportunity for new and returning board members to kind of get up to speed on the latest and greatest. There's 2 different dates coming up. One is on April 7th, one is on July 7th of next year. So that would be, we can work offline and see if anyone's interested in attending.
Okay. We'll call a motion for the consent calendar.
So I move we approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Is there any discussion around the consent calendar?
So I did have a question about the boarding issue in the Manchester pool.
Yes.
It seems like this is an ongoing thing.
said not, or at least I thought she had, but it has been a problem in the past, and I'm just wondering, are we close to identifying what the issue is?
It looks like for the chlorine, you have two distinct periods throughout the year. First is you have a low organic load portion of the year and a high organic load portion of the year. So, in a nutshell, what you're looking at is that, when you go through that period of change between summer and winter, that chemical balance is going to be shifted. And for every pool, it becomes more difficult to shift because you have to keep up and ramp up the chlorine or down. And there's other things involved as well. So I think we've pretty much normalized now. So, however, there's an O-ring that's needs to be replaced on it. But I think this must be. Actually, never mind. Does everyone have a packet?
I could use an agenda for the.
I can send you, man.
Yeah, that's enough. Okay.
Okay, that's it.
So you're, okay, so someone wanna call the question then? Okay, so I'm calling the question, all in favor? Aye.
I'm not sure what I'm approving here.
The consent calendar?
I know, this.
Right, yes, yeah.
Are we gonna discuss any of this?
We just called for that if there was any questions and you didn't make any
I
comments.
just have a question about the financial thing, because I don't understand it, because I'm not an accountant.
I believe there's a point on the agenda that's coming up. Are you voting on the consent calendar?
Did you have a specific question? Cindy?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
So
just
now we're
saying I don't understand the financial thing, so that's all I'm saying.
Would you like an explanation now? or
Well,
would
you
like
said
to
it's
schedule?
down here, so if it's on the agenda.
New business too.
It's all right.
All right, do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay, and are you okay to approve
Okay,
it?
okay.
Okay, so, okay, all in favor? Okay. Okay, so, quickly through check signing days.
I had a question. So are we gonna discuss the September financial reports, now or later?
Later.
Okay,
Oh, actually, that's part of the consent calendar.
Yeah, it's part of
Right.
it.
so that's what I was confused about. If it's part of the consent calendar, do we discuss it now?
Okay,
Public comment is closed. Public can comment on each item.
okay, so, okay. Do you want to, did you, specific questions you had?
Yeah, I have a question. So. Let's see here. So, I saw that the net income, so basically, this is for August and September, and, if we're talking about just September, why does it have August in it? I have that question. Oh, there it is, sorry. That was, but this is the access, this is not the financial report. So, my question is, if we are gonna look for the September financial reports, why is it August through September? August was already on the last, income statement, and if we're just looking at September, shouldn't we just look at that 1 month? That's my question, and also, I was wondering if someone could give me an explanation why the net income for August to September 2018 was, $70,582 versus, $46,613 last year, which is a change of, negative 51.4%.
One question at a time, which one would you like answered first? The date range or the other ones?
Yeah, if you guys are doing the September financial reports, I was just wondering why is the balance sheet, you have a balance sheet for September here, but, why don't you have the, if you're gonna do the financial statement for September, why is it August and September, not just
It's
September?
not actually August and September, it's August through September, so it's a year-to-date, is what you're looking at, a year-to-date P&L.
Right,
Right.
I understand that.
Yeah, so if you take.
But what I'm saying is on the last one, I know you're taking a point in time and you want to see how people did, but, if it's, what I'm saying is if it says it's a September financial report, why did you put August and September?
July, August, and September. Unless someone made a mistake.
No, it says August to September 2018.
Okay, yes, that's someone made a mistake.
Someone made a mistake. Okay.
Yeah, I have to talk to Marcia about that.
So you're suggesting that the title here, August, September 18,
Should be
should
July.
actually
It
July
should actually be
through
July
September.
or September.
Yeah,
Yeah.
August is a misnomer, it should be July.
Okay, because I
Everywhere you
saw,
see August.
I saw the last one, it was July and August.
Yes, yeah,
And
it
then-
should be starting from the fiscal year, July 1,
Right.
going forward for the 3 months.
Right, okay.
So that was an oversight, that none of us caught. So you're just asking about the August, not as to why it was year to date.
Right. Another thing, and I also had a question too, if you can, explain why the net income went from 70,582, for 2018 versus 46,613 from, last year.
Well, it looks like the majority of that is coming from increased expenses.
Right, I know that, but why is the payroll increased so much? The payroll was increased 34.2%.
Yeah, so there's 2 different reasons for that. One is that salaries are going up in addition to the minimum wage, the city had passed. So basically, a couple of years ago, we were at $12, now the minimum wage is $13.50, but we start off at 16. So we've increased our minimum wage $4 over the past 2 years.
Per hour.
Per hour.
Minimum.
Yes.
And your salary is gone from like 60 to 104.
I don't understand how that would be a difference of $26,000 though, I mean, if you're looking at the difference.
Yeah, the other thing is we started a new program to get their camp, which has hours throughout the day, so there's more staff hours as well. There's that.
Okay. So is that actually a feasible program?
Yes.
The summer update that I handed out might explain some of this, because, we trained 5 program managers in charge of 1 major operational units of the district. These 5 program managers then planned a training for their own supervisory level, roughly 18 supervisors in total. The supervisors are trained for the position and are also given a role in training the remaining 50+ frontline staff members, many of which are cross-trained for several different positions. After the event, we need to catch all the staff who miss the event before their first shift. I mean, that's a lot of people.
That's a lot of
At our
overhead.
summer, listen to the, I don't know who got this in June, but I did, and I was just shocked. At our summer peak, we are staffing 975 work hours per week. Are open between 11 and 14 hours. Well, I don't know how many of those hours are actually, the prep or closing, okay? And continue at this pace for roughly 2 months. People were falling over themselves in that office. And Sunny, who is the office manager, just got lost in the shuffle. And I had that from her own mouth, because she just was bewildered. I mean, why do we need, you're the manager, and there's a program manager and an office manager. We need some lifeguards and probably a little bit of extra help in the summertime in the office. but 18 supervisors and managers, I mean, that's a small corporation we're talking about.
So I have another question. So you said which program was the one that brought money in,
Sorry,
that had the increased payroll?
a swim camp, yes, it broke even. So it was the first year, it was meant to be a pilot program, so that's where the increase downtown was.
That was 2 people.
Okay, so I'm actually confused because it says here that the swim camp lost $34.
Sorry, where are you seeing that?
It's under, if you look at.
Page
the-
1.
Okay,
Page
yeah, it's
1-4.
probably because we're missing July. It doesn't really run in August, so what you're seeing is probably the deposit refund.
The problem we always have with these financial reports, as I posted on Nextdoor, is they're accrual basis and they're snapshots in time, which you said a couple minutes
Right.
ago. And, but always by the end of the year, we balance out and are able to create more reserves for the next time we have to replace things like the pool. So, as Kevin has said in a couple places, the summer, we have this, huge blip of labor because we have a huge blip of people coming to use the pool and do all kinds of things. And so we go negative for a couple months, and then the rest of the year, we catch up. That the quarter, as he'll show you in the financial presentation later, the third quarter is traditionally in the hole a little bit, but we always recover.
So I'm actually confused about how you said the swim camp was making money, because I looked at the financial statement that was posted before, and it said that the pool lost, that had a negative, a net loss of $122,000.
That was year to year. That wasn't
Right.
a net loss. It was
It
year
was
to
on,
year.
it was on different bases.
Different bases.
There wasn't the deferred revenue from one year had not yet been assigned to the next year, you'll see it all.
Yeah, you'll see.
This was in my opinion, a gross overhiring of people. Because some of these people, I found out, only wanted to work a couple hours a day. And after they were made managers and supervisors, they didn't want to go outside. They all wanted to be inside, which was, that was Sunny's complaint. Nobody wanted to go outside, nobody wanted to work more than 2 hours, nobody, so you got a humongous payroll, which is, you have to pay taxes on every one of those people, and your Medicare, and all of that extra expense, and I think it was just poorly organized. I don't think, probably you could have run it on 25% of what you got here. Just that payroll was just padded. So anyway.
Do you have any further questions about the consent calendar?
I'm good. I have other questions, but I guess I'll email them.
We can also be offline, I think that there's a lot of questions you have, I'd be happy to go through all of the stuff.
Okay.
So I think this is maybe not the right place.
I have a question. Couple of asked questions, specific questions, in the public comment period.
Yes,
myself.
okay.
At what portion of the meeting will be answered? I'm just trying to figure out if you can stay at 8 o'clock or you can go home earlier.
Oh,
I'm happy to stay, that's when fall is on.
Okay, usually we take comment, we have our meeting and we will discuss and, you had a number of good ideas and, then we will report back with if we're gonna act on some of these.
We're agendizing it for the next meeting, because we can't, legally, we can't discuss something that wasn't on, any topic that wasn't on the agenda without putting on the next agenda. So it hampers us in getting, give and take answers.
if anyone needs to leave, you can hear email, we have to answer questions you have.
Okay, I can stay, but I think I hope that my question will be answered,
I'd be happy to take, I'd be happy to take it offline, so you can listen. And you can say, I said I would be happy to take it offline and go opportunity, just like, since we have addressed it in the meeting.
That's a question, I think this might be an impertinent question, I'm sorry, but I'd just like to ask. So, you mentioned that our minimum here is $60 an hour. I'd be interested to know at some point how that compares to the surrounding market, both for the pool manager salary as well as the different levels that you have here.
Yeah, I can have to discuss that after the meeting. I'll be here as long as you guys need, so. Of course.
I'm so sorry to, I know this is completely out of that, but you know, questions, that question was actually another question I had, I was going to the next meeting. So I think it would be useful to capture the answers regardless of who is coming from the questions and find a way to share them maybe on Nextdoor or something like that. That way, you will save everybody time. I was gonna ask that very question actually next.
We also have a Facebook page.
So that was my first question. If you remember, what are the means by which the center communicates with people in the area? How can we in turn ask questions, have follow-ups, whatever it might be. So if you can circulate that information, that's great.
Okay, so we were signer for checks,
Volunteer, if nobody else wants to.
and if Steve volunteered. Okay, and you were going to give us, update on our facility?
Yeah, we'll kind of briefly touch on it, O-ring on the, it's kind of going to the sucking air. That should be repaired probably next week or week after, as soon as the kit comes. The chlorine is supposed to be stabilized out, I think we're at a good spot for a while.
And, now we're going to approve the GM salary. We have a motion, or it's been a proposals last time.
I move to approve the general manager's salary.
Yeah, I have a
don't have
question
the
about that,
exact, I
actually.
don't have the exact number in front of me. I think
It's
it was-
$140,000.
I think it was 5% above, the current,
I actually have a question about that.
4% was inflation and 1% was merit.
The only thing that's inflated is his salary.
Yeah, I had a question. I was wondering why the decision was made for that position to go from hourly to salary.
Because Kevin has a way of going for a while, he was on an even keel with the hourly pay. But this job was originally 2 part-time jobs. He and Sonny were supposed to share this job, okay? And he was down here rearranging stuff and getting rid of a lot of stuff, and that was a good thing. So then, he comes and he wants the salary. And Steve upped the ante for like $10,000 or $20,000 from when he was on hourly to salary. And then, about a year, well, this was a year ago, August, so this would be almost a year and a half now. He wanted a contract. And
Yeah, I
that's
have a
when
question
I
about that,
just said,
too.
hey, whoa, you know?
Why?
And every month, he always wants something. And you know, it's like he spends a lot of money. And Sonny, who's the office manager, thinks he spends too much money on stuff that he doesn't really need to spend it on.
That's a bit of hearsay.
And no,
It's hearsay,
well, have her
yes.
have her come in and say it, you know? She's here, she can come in. She doesn't wanna say anything because he's her boss.
So
This is not,
what I don't understand is,
what is your?
Okay, I was
What is your issue with the
vehemently
contract?
against this contract.
I've actually gone through this stuff, and I just don't think with everything that's going on with an employee here having their own swim school, and everyone's saying it's okay, the fact that, I mean, I'm looking at the financials here, you said that, you know, the swim camp made a bunch of money, but I mean,
Broke even.
Broke even, I didn't say break even.
okay, it broke even, right,
First
okay.
season.
But, I mean, I'm looking right now, I'm looking at the financials from July to August 2017. The swim lessons were 158,000 versus July to August of this year, it went down to 38,000.
Like I said, it's deferred revenue that hasn't been adjusted yet.
So,
You know, the rules we have to report under, it looks that way, but the truth is, it is
actually,
reported, yeah.
but if you're looking at the financial statement, it tells how, do you think that you're worth that much money of the
Sorry,
taxpayers?
this is a public comment, so it's not like a back and forth.
That's true.
I'm happy to meet with you offline about this. We also have a presentation to answer your questions, so, that's not just agenda item.
He's gotten.
I also have a motion on the table, I didn't
Yeah.
know if it was seconded.
A motion, yeah, we have a second.
A second, sure.
Did you
Go
second?
ahead. Oh, the Eugene summary, yes.
Okay.
That's right.
Then I also recall the question.
So, all in favor?
So, I'm sorry, what did we just vote on? What did you just
We're,
vote on?
we're redoing what we did last month because it turns out, it may not have been legal to have taken the vote in closed session because all salaries are public. And so, on reviewing the minutes, which we have to do in the course of the next month, we go, wait a minute, we did that wrong, so we have to do it correctly. And so the discussion, about why, other questions that come up, like we said, the rest of the meeting isn't gonna take like public comment is usually. But we're trying to answer as many questions as we can.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm specifically what was just approved? That's the per year,
GM salary.
The increase to the general manager's salary.
Just
on an
here,
annual basis.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
correct.
So what is it for 1 year?
so it was, as reported in the minutes of last month, we put, no board action was taken, and
It was 99 something,
Yeah.
and the increase was 5%.
5%.
Which brings it to 104 something.
104,288, was that what it was?
And the
I think we rounded
options,
it.
the options were 3.9, and then there was there was a progression of increases. And Steve made a motion, not for 3.9, no.
But 5.
5,
Because 3.6, to be more accurate,
whatever.
was the adjusted gross inflation rate for this area. And for a person receiving an excellent performance review and has received one for the last 5 years that he's been working here, 1% is not out of the question, one.
Excuse
And
me.
two, can I finish first, please? And two, if you look at the salary ranges that are further back in your packet, it nowhere near gets to the amounts that comparable jobs are being paid, even over in Livermore. But
So how big are those districts in Livermore? Because like, we're this district is this pool.
he can cover that later, because it's part of a later presentation.
This is a part-time job.
It's not, actually, it's a full-time
No,
job
it
year-round.
isn't.
This
He
is the
goes for
first time,
full-time.
this is the first time we've had a full-time year-round manager. Before this, we hired housewives who worked very hard in the summer and put in, 90 hours a week in the summer, but the other 9 months of the year, we had to cut back. And so originally, as I posted on Nextdoor, this pool was only open for 2 months in the summer. And then through the course of hiring a full-time year-round manager, we've been able to open 6 or 7 months a year for open swim, double, and we're only closed about 1 month out of the year for maintenance.
We
And
don't actually
other
close
things.
the pool, we do, it's year round lap swim.
Yes.
And I think the swim team also
swim
is
team
year
takes
round
a month.
too.
We take a couple weeks off in the coldest part of the,
Excuse me,
Where?
he's here in the morning. Nobody's here hours, the office hours are 3 to 7 or 8. He's here all day from, I guess he's been covering the lap swim because he can't seem to hire somebody for, it's in the quote pipe for no, whatever. Anyway,
Your
we're
comments,
getting
Mary?
off topic.
Can we let
I'm
her?
not finished.
She had her hand up before
All right.
you were talking.
So
And we've
anyway,
also covered this subject, so can you please let her
no,
talk?
we're not finished covering this subject at all. I have one more thing to say. He does nothing here from 9 to 3, and he's been staying here a longer time because he knows that everybody's watching. In May, the first 2 weeks in May, I don't know where he was one of those weeks because he wasn't here. And nobody has an oversight, and you 3 people, 4 with Pat, cover for him. And he can do no wrong. Nobody read my evaluation. She compiles the comments, and it sounds like a love story. And none of my comments and concerns were even mentioned in
Actually,
that
they are.
evaluation.
As a minority report in the
I'm the
evaluation,
minority.
since only 1 out of 5 people, thought he wasn't doing his job, we left it in there to say, one person thinks this, and that's the truth, so it was put in there.
Yeah, and I've
That's
discussed
a
all
matter
of
of
that
public
in
record.
open meetings before, and you guys glaze over.
Okay, Virginia? Is that
Oh,
Melody?
yeah,
No,
Melody.
yeah. Well, I was gonna leave soon, but I just was curious when you'd be able to talk about adding more hours, since it's only 10 hours a lot for the whole week. So like.
That have to be agendized for next meeting, it's not on this meeting's.
Oh, so,
It's a bit of a slow process, so what'll happen is it'll go on to the meeting, and then after that, we would probably wanna do some kind of a survey to figure out if there's other people, because we've done it before, and generally no one comes. So if you wanna leave your email, and you know people who wanna come, we can set this up, and we can make it happen. But we need enough people to sustain.
oh,
Makes
okay.
sense.
Well, how many times a,
Not many, yeah.
It's, I usually do morning laps and minutes.
Oh, okay.
So, especially during the winter, we take off to like 5, well, maybe 9 on a good day.
okay.
And that's
Yeah.
over the 2-hour period, I'm in
Maybe
here
it's
about
'cause-
that.
It might be too late, because like 7, like I have to leave for school, because I teach, so I have to leave my house by 5-7. It's like other schools that you actually start at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I
Or
work
even
for
the
Sun.
evening.
I know.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I've been
like,
doing that.
like.
And
mornings-
also, the
mornings
pool is
or-
kept at 86 degrees, which is a little warm for serious lap swimming.
But,
It's actually 4.
84.
but yeah, if you wanna leave your email address or something, if you have to do it, it's a slow process, so it wouldn't happen.
And it would need to go on next month's agenda, but we'd be happy to put that on the
Okay.
agenda.
Okay,
I
cool.
will for that.
Yeah, even just like a couple evenings, a week, or like 1 weekend option, a couple weekends, I don't know, but. Like,
Did you finish with this?
Yes, were you here?
Yeah, I didn't vote.
Wait,
Three of you approved, I don't, I will no vote.
Okay, well, you could have done that while we were taking.
I did.
Okay, now we're gonna, cover some of the board meeting policies. I found a modified, Robert rules that might help us going forward in the, meetings. This is the, Rosenberg rules. There's a, it seems to be quite common for many cities and other entities to use this. And that might help us going forward, in our meetings. So it's something we can look at, and we can, put it on the agenda to look at for next time if we want to adopt that. There's a simple cheat sheet, which, came from the League of California Cities, that might help us, in the short term, look at these things. Yes?
Yeah, I looked at the the Rosenberg's intro, Judge Rosenberg, who proposed these rules of order, and he points out that almost nobody ever reads Robert's Rules of Order because it's so dense and picayune, and nobody follows them either. And so he, as a given his experience, when you take a look at what's in the package, he pointed out in the very first paragraph that he came up with this because he chaired a lot of meetings and, was a judge, and just said, let's simplify this, and it looks pretty good, but I agree with you. I'd like to defer to the next meeting, actually implementing them for our board, and see if we get some public comment back on that too.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Also, so we'll move that to next session. And then also we were looking at the process for adding items to the agenda. Sometimes items are added to the agenda and, it's not clear, what the materials are, and would be helpful when items are submitted, perhaps a little description can be added. And I think we're also gonna be looking for language that we can add in as policy. So now we'll talk about the minutes process. Then,
Yeah, I had, come to my attention that no one signs the minutes. And it seems like the person who actually takes the minutes should sign the minutes. Because otherwise, they're not legal, they're public records and they're not legal.
where does it say it's not legal?
Yeah, where does it say that?
Well, how can, if nobody signs the minutes, how can they be legal?
Because we
We
voted
approve
to
them.
approve them.
They become legal when we approve them
You
at
know
the
what,
next meeting.
Rita always used to sign the minutes. Everybody knows you're supposed to sign the minutes.
I'm
Look
sorry.
it up somewhere.
Well, perhaps it would be good if you,
Yeah, right.
showed us that. That's the part about adding things, the idea that we have information about that. And I'm not aware of anything
I got
about.
the rules here, you want to know where they are?
Okay, so, yeah,
We're
please.
talking about. This is a board policy manual, which I think might be very helpful to all of us.
Yeah. there's
So I have to look up
we-
time, place, and minutes. This is in page 8.
What's standard practice, Kevin?
This is
I don't
special
know.
districts
Yeah.
directors policy manual, okay?
Yes,
And
yes.
from the risk management
Yes,
authority.
we have policy for that too.
I just wanted to say, as I looked online, it said that minutes are to be signed by the secretary and if customary, may also be signed by the president. Minutes are your group's legal record of its proceedings, and the secretary's signature establishes evidence of the original document's authenticity.
So that's where you see submitted by.
Well, it's not gonna cost anything, so I make a motion to sign minutes from now on when they're approved at the next meeting. And-
So does it indicate when the signage is? Is it after, before approval or?
Can't be after. It has to be after approval.
Okay, so we have a motion, a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor of the motion to, have minutes signed? Okay, passing, I guess unanimously,
Yes.
thank you. Okay, so now we're moving on to the district financial review.
Yes,
Thank you.
so this, should answer some of your questions, Sophie. So I put together this financial report, which should go over some things you're wondering about. What it is it's based on 10 years of independent audits, which I have right there, you're welcome to inspect them. As well as a interim financial report, this time with the deferred revenue in there. So what you see in here is the profit and loss as well as the net, which is the green line. As you can see, we're doing okay. Again, these are from the independent audit, they'll make these numbers up. And so our net income at this point is somewhere around $110,000 for 2018, ending June 30th. And we bring in just over, a little around 900,000. We spend about $800,000 a year. So this graph here shows the blue lines. This is our capital assets, things like building, land, pool, stuff like that. The red line represents cash and cash like insurance. What you can see is that from 2013, we have been increasing our cash holdings quite significantly year to year. And then starting in 2016, we started putting that money back into the district. And you can see the capital assets increasing. In addition, some of those cash assets, the bars in red from the previous slide, the board's allocated to future capital replacement funds. So the board has been very forward-thinking in what to do with the money. Now we can look at a revenue break. By the way, if you interrupt me if you get questions or confusion at any time. The revenue is really broken down into two major parts. One of them is the tax income, and the other one is program income. So what you're seeing in blue here is the property tax revenue, which is increasing and steadily over the years. And what you're seeing in red is program revenue. So what has happened is since 2013, you can see that there's a very rapid rise in the program revenue. We've been very busy over the past couple of years. And this is a breakdown of our revenue by program. So this is excluding property tax because that's not coded. Our swim lessons account for 54%. Our swim lessons are all one-to-one, so each lesson we do has one instructor. Swim lessons, 54%, $231,000 per year. Swim team, $78,000. Pool rentals and hall rentals. And public swim, which we included barbecue rentals in because that's kind of the same sort of realm. Miscellaneous income, and our newest one is swim camp. Now this is only partial because that only includes the June swim camp. July and August, or 2 days of August, or that was not included.
So does public swim also include lap swim?
Yes, so lap swim, public swim, barbecue rentals, and snack bar, but because they're all during that public swim time. So it made sense to put them together, even though they're not like that on the financial report. It made sense for this graph. This is the opposite. This is our expense breakdown. So our expenses are generally broken down into payroll and related, including sort of taxes and insurance. And then this, of course, is our operating expense, which would be chemicals, lighting, any kind of replacement equipment, things of that nature. As you can tell, our expenses increased quite rapidly as well. The interesting part is that in 2013, as we were expanding our programs, oddly enough, our payroll decreased. Yes.
Operating expenses also include insurance that we must pay for liability and stuff, because the insurance that's in the blue portion is just workman's comp type insurance related to payroll. So there's a lot of things in there.
Yes, exactly. Now we have a little bit of a, now we break it down into a pie chart here. Personnel, again, 67%. Our facility, $185,000 per year. Administration, which includes insurance, our annual audit, things like that, go in there. And of course, our program is $18,400.
One question.
Yes.
What including the facility?
Um,
Expenses there, what are those?
Yes, so it's utilities, pool maintenance, and building maintenance. So all of our water, electricity, our janitorial services, all kinds of paper, everything that goes into just keep, and landscaping, of course, as well. Any other questions? So putting it all together, this graph kind of shows both pie charts side by side, the revenue side on the left, and the expense side on the right. Personnel expenses are roughly covered by property tax, swim lesson revenue roughly covers facility maintenance, and go down, and this is the rough net income in there. A bit of it which goes into the capital replacement plan. Now, when you look at those major trends, such as the breakdown between the program revenue as a percentage of total revenue, what you'll see is that program revenue is up for the most part compared to tax revenue. Now, more recently, tax revenue is quite healthy, and our program revenue is kind of flat. So this is going up. The payroll as a percentage of total expense is pretty flat, rock solid. So it's pretty much the same. And of course, seasonality. What we are seeing here is where the expenses and revenues are. Generally, Q3, which is the beginning of our fiscal year, we operate at a deficit, so that so it'd be that July through August that you were seeing where there's a negative. That's a normal part of our annual cycle. Once we get over to October, December, Q4, we get our property taxes in. That's why we have that giant spike. And our expenses, of course, go down because we're not running as many programs, same thing in January and March, but we don't have the tax revenue, and so obviously we're back negative a little bit. And then, of course, we have our big season, Q2, where we have property tax and program revenue all in the same time. Any questions on that one? So the accounting method that we use is called a hybrid basis. For those of you guys who don't know, a cash basis is when you get cash for something, you count it right then. An accrual basis says, even if I have the cash, it really needs to be counted when the service is provided. This type of thing is important because if you have a foreclosure and you count it on a cash basis, you have to refund all that money, and that can cause some cash flow problems. So what we do is called a hybrid basis. And what that means is we have a cash basis, we collect money in May for some lessons, and then we defer that revenue until the next year.
Next fiscal year,
Next fiscal year, thank you. Yes.
in a month or so.
Yes. A practical example again, this one lesson writing. And what happened with that expense report, so the P&L that you saw, is that 1 year was being reported on a cash basis, and it had not yet gone to the next year. That's why it looked like there was $122,000 that was less. It wasn't, it just wasn't deferred. And there's some benefits and limitations of each system, and the accrual basis is pretty cool, but it's also very costly to administer, which is why we don't do it. The cash basis is simple, but it doesn't comply with GASP requirements.
It's not gas P.
And like I said, all the copies of the audits, if anyone's interested, happy to go over those with you, not a problem. Any questions?
Just, maybe a question. Is this shared ahead of the meeting? Is it
Yes.
possible to do?
Yes,
Where is it shared?
it's on the agenda as a link. In fact,
Okay, where is that posted? That
on the
link?
website.
On the
Yes,
facilities?
yes, yes. All
Because
of
obviously I hadn't seen it,
it. Yes.
and I can say safely that it's not possible to ask good questions right after doing that.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that it's being shared on that.
Yes. The whole packet is available online, this entire.
Thanks.
So you'll share with us number 3, salary ranges.
So last month, the board asked for salary ranges for the staff.
Where is that?
It's right after the,
The thing we just looked at.
yeah,
Right after we just
page
did
right
that.
after.
So
Before
salary
I
range.
plan the fee factor.
So the salary ranges, what we did was, and the methodology is all explained right here. We're trying to get comparables. And so what we did was we chose entities that are very similar to this district. So what we did was we chose, for example, cities that have a park district and have roles within it that are similar to what we do. So we chose Cupertino and all the adjacent cities. Then we took these special districts that are similar to us that have parks, and we chose those as well. Then we compiled all of those job descriptions and we went through them and matched them to find the ones that were appropriate. We excluded ones that had duplicates. So for example, if you had like a park, whatever, and you had a recreation, whatever, and it's the same salary, we excluded one to avoid double counting from the same entity. There is a link on here which links to the raw data. That data has links to all of the districts, all the job descriptions, and all the published salary ranges. What you'll see is basically all of that put together into steps. We chose the median salaries, not the average, to avoid having it being pulled up by a high average. And we also did statistical analysis to get rid of outliers. In addition, I was able to get today a copy of a compensation survey by the Livermore Area Recreation District, which is very close to us. It's up in Pleasanton, and I have it also available. It used a very similar methodology and came to a very similar
I have a
conclusion.
question. How many parks are in that district,
In which district?
in the Livermore district?
They have many parks, but what's interesting about Livermore is that if you take a look at their budget, they actually split it out. And you can see that their aquatics is, part of their district is very similar in size to us. So if you'd like to see, their aquatics portion has a total revenue of $490,000, which, as you saw from the previous slide, is actually not far off from ours.
How much is their payroll compared to ours?
So for this one, they actually list their,
And their total annual budget was within $100,000 of equal
So-
arms.
as you can see here, happy to
You
show.
can just email it to me later.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
But this is their actuals. They spend 490,000. They're, subsidized because their total expenses are over $1 million. So it's very similar to our, size, and they have their salaries in here as well.
So this special district is just, it's the Parks and Rec, but, the pool, Parks and Rec. But I guess it's just the pool, and the thing that's considered the park is just the barbecue area.
That's right.
I'm confused.
No, the whole 2 acres is the park. It just happens that, a lot of it is used for, the parking lot and the right of way was granted to Barrington Bridge so that, this is before my time.
Right.
So that, they could, and in exchange, what they did is they tore everything down, the building down that we had before then, and built this building to, unfortunately, residential standards. So in the first 2 years, we had to replace all the bathrooms at a cost of $40,000. And so I got grants to do that, but luckily, we had a contractor in the neighborhood who said, I'll do it for no cost because I like our neighborhood.
So the Rancho Rinconada Park, this is just it?
Correct.
This is it.
Okay, there's like no other parks or
Nope.
anything?
No.
But in Livermore, do they have other parks?
Yes, they do. Their
Okay.
budget, their spending, and the amount they're subsidized is almost identical.
So it's similar in that we have other parks in the city of Cupertino now that we're part of the city of Cupertino, but they have totally
Right, that's
different
different,
budgets.
that's different from this, the budget here is strictly
For
for
this, yes.
this.
yes.
We're more of a
They're not
cabana,
compatible.
actually. If you look at West,
You're cutting her off.
if you look at Westbrook, it's a cabana. I mean, we're a cabana.
And I also have a question about public, I don't even know how this works.
Come again?
Am I allowed to chime in at this point? I don't even know
Yes,
how
go
the
ahead. I mean,
system
you're,
works.
you can make comments, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised to hear that Rome was considered comparable. Because one of the things I would imagine that salary depends on is living expenses, what the area costs to live in. And I don't think Livermore and Cupertino are comparable. I was surprised to learn that they are. So maybe I will be surprised. But, just by the question that Sophia just asked, as to what constitutes the park system or this district here, and what the Livermore district consists of, they don't seem comparable. And the fact that they still spend the same amount of money, that's a problem. If you're not the same amount,
He was saying,
you're running a household of 10 people and 1 people, same amount of money, that's a problem.
But if, what I heard was that district had a different budget for its aquatics that was similar to what we have
In
here.
size.
They may have other parks, but they have another piece of the budget that covers that. So what I heard was that it was comparable in terms of the aquatics program, which is basically what we're offering here.
Okay, so just, is that what it is?
Correct.
Just
It
for
is.
the aquatic program,
Yes.
we comparing their aquatic program to the aquatic, because we don't really do anything else here. I mean, I know the barbecue area, et cetera, but, so is that what you're comparing?
It's very similar in terms of the budget. They've done a great job of splitting it out so that we can see just that department.
How about the number of people being served at each of these locations?
They didn't give that in. This is a budget, so they don't have that kind of information in here. They have
Or
a lot.
how many other people are involved in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
The number of staff,
they do, they have it right here.
they have that?
So in fact, and this is the fun part, is that their full-time equivalents is 14, and they have 3.42 full-time staff. So here, we have 3 full-time staff, and we have a little over 11 So
Sorry.
it's very comparable.
I'm still confused. Are we just talking about the aquatics program?
Yes,
Correct.
just the
Okay.
aquatics program at Livermore, not the parks.
Right.
So why do we have 70 people
They probably
in the
have,
summer?
yeah, so full-time equivalent takes all those part-timers
Do
and
they have
compresses.
70 in the summer?
I have no idea how many they have, but when you take their full-time equivalents, basically you take all those part-times and compress it into how many full-timers would you need to do that, it ends up being very similar to ours. They're slightly bigger, but not by much. And it even lists the positions they have an aquatics supervisor and coordinator, both of which were chosen for our salaries.
And this is for Livermore, the city, correct?
No, Livermore Area Recreation District, they are a special district.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, like what you said before, we don't know how many residents that serves versus this.
The budgets are very similar, so I can only imagine that they're very close.
And what sort of programs do they have and what sort of hours do they run?
That, again, I have their budget in front of me, but that's not information.
One of the things that struck me when I looked at this the other day was that when you got to budget categories, their amounts that they're spending per year are very close to exactly what we're spending per year. And that's why I said, yeah, this one's, no two special districts in the United States are 100% alike, but that one's pretty close. And so it's good that it's one of our comparables. That's the problem with comparables, is you'll never find exactly another district that offers the services exactly that we do for exactly the number of people. And so,
I agree that you're not ever going to find two identical situations, but I still imagine that the number of people being served is a very important variable. How many people are learning swimming versus using the live streams versus et cetera, and how many people are using the barbecue, what amount of work is involved in managing all the people and making them available, answering the questions, et cetera. That's a very important variable. It's not just the budget.
Right, and we can certainly do that for ourselves, And we can provide that analysis
I
for
think,
us,
yeah.
right?
I
We
think
have
we
to
need to have
ask,
that.
we have to ask them if they would be willing to share that with us.
Yeah.
But what I don't understand is how come that information wasn't shared before you guys voted on the salaries?
we didn't
We
vote on
were.
salaries. We only
We
voted
haven't
on one
voted on
salary.
salaries.
These are salary ranges that were asked to be prepared last week.
And how about some of the other districts that I mentioned, just, the local area,
Sure. So I have,
Campbell, et cetera,
they're all here. So,
and how do they compare?
Rancho Rinconada is low.
Okay.
Very low.
There's
That's
also a
just-
link from the minutes on the website that
Okay.
will take you directly to the spreadsheet to see that.
You should have the summary on your,
Is this?
yeah, on the other, I think you did one page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with my original question, which is what are the means by which the board and the facility keep in touch with, and are accessible to people in the area, and, I remember Pat was not here today. I remember she would post occasional whenever she was in her computer work, etc. And some of you who were on that list, I remember Julie being there, Nicholas was there, and remember, Steve was definitely on that old list. She would make an effort to invite people to an occasional barbecue, or at least announce the meeting times. I don't know how that's happening these days. Is there a mailing list? Other than the Facebook page, what else is there?
We do have a mailing list for certain swim programs, like a lap swim has a mailing list, so that if there's a pool closure, we can get to know about it before we turn up at 6:30 in the
One
morning.
was already using it,
So,
that is.
right,
There's, so we're posting outside of our bulletin and also on our website. We should probably-
In the old days, we had
Yeah.
to walk around a newsletter to every house in the neighborhood. And since the internet's come about, we're putting more and more on our website.
There are actually more means now than newsletter, I would imagine, now that the thankfully the internet has come about. So which others are being used is my
And
question.
also, our employees appear at every health fair in Cupertino.
I'm
and all
sorry,
that
that's
stuff.
not everybody goes to the health fair.
True.
We should have a mailing list with everybody from the area being on it. I mean, as many people as want to be at least.
Or
I mean,
the
earlier,
site has the
there was
ability
mention.
to,
I'm
sorry,
sorry,
I'm
go ahead.
no, or if your site has the ability to like sign up for updates, as they are posted,
we do, that's actually a very good
It's a
idea.
good idea.
Like I said, we do have a Facebook page, and people are able to subscribe to that, we also have Yelp as well.
Earlier comment was made about, when somebody requested additional lapsing hours, that a survey was done. Now, a survey consisting of who? The lapsingers. Currently existing lapsingers.
If there's,
How about recruiting new people? How is that done? Or inform people about, I'm assuming, some of my questions coming from the assumption that this special district has a special obligation to people of this area, right, is that accurate?
Sure.
So what efforts, I have not been contacted one single time. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. Basically, this is being done, I feel, in a way where people who have special interest, she doesn't want to look silly or whatever, right? It's like this, it's a pool in which the water is never changed in many different ways. And that's a problem, I think, and I hope you're all concerned about that.
We've been, progressing in ways, and granted, there's always things we can do to improve, and you've mentioned several that could be options. But we have made our webpage and our Facebook page and moving like with Yelp. So slowly, or not even slowly, we're making that available. So we're out there. We haven't actually said,
I'm sure you are,
we
I've never
haven't
seen what
done
I'm
any
saying.
mailings, but people can find us and find information. If you went to the website and you went and looked at the board, you could start to see that there are, access to these pages.
But couldn't that also be like lack of marketing too? Like, we live in this neighborhood and we've never heard any of this.
Never. And honestly, I'm somebody who actually been looking for a pool, and I came a couple of times. I did go to actually the website also, not recently, a while ago. It was the most unfriendly, I got really no information. I just figured this is not for me for whatever reason. I even thought this is only for people who lived in the Barrington area or whatever we call it, this particular subdevelopment. I thought it was people, those people. Residents who live here.
I think, in the interest of sticking to the agenda, that's a great thing that we can put on the
Ways
agenda
to
for next
improve.
month. And certainly, please
Bring your
let us
ideas.
know, your ideas, because, PR and marketing is something that we've been trying to address. And haven't had the full skill set.
With all due respect, I understand that you all have a process. I have been other boards and I understand that you all have an agenda that you need to work through. But it does blow my mind, after an election of the kind you had, when a lot of information, whether true or not, the fact is that there are concerns in the community, that's the bottom line. That you all would discuss Robert's rule of order versus somebody else, that just really blows my mind. Simply as people who are accountable, you have taken a position, you should be accountable therefore, all of you. I cannot believe this is the agenda we have. And there has been so much dirt discussed on, are you all next door?
Yes,
Are you all reading the discussions?
yes.
I'm not saying it's true just because somebody puts the internet. In fact, most of the time we all know it doesn't necessarily have to be true. But you have to be concerned at least. I am not saying that concern. I honestly thought when I came here that you all would make a statement at the beginning saying, I know some concerns have expressed. We cannot address them all in this meeting, but you know what? We've heard them. We will address them one way or another. I have not seen that at all, and I'm so disappointed.
Can I say
Oh, I
something?
said
I did not hear it again. I'm
Thank
sorry, this is a
everybody for
problem.
bringing their concerns.
This is why I went on next door with this, to bring it all, to have more participation in the neighborhood.
I'm sorry, Miriam, when did you say that? I honestly am not meaning to question my hearing. When did you say that?
When after everybody talked, I thank you for your ideas, and that we could put some of these on the agenda, so.
That's a standard response in any board meeting, but this is a board meeting after a particular kind of election that we had, and when some concerns were expressed. I think then more needs to be said.
Okay, well,
I
I hope
just
we see
feel
you
that
at more
needs to be
meetings then.
Sorry?
I hope we see you at more meetings.
No, I think it's your responsibility because you're board meeting
I think
members
it's the
to actually respond to
responsibility
those
of the public
concerns.
to be here.
I'm sorry?
I would think it would be the responsibility of the public as a special district to be here.
I'm saying it's not my individual responsibility because I have not taken the position of a board member. When
You're
you
the
take a position of being
public.
board, you have that
Do you
responsibility.
vote?
I'm sorry?
Stop arguing on the phone.
Oh, that's okay for you. Yes, okay.
You volunteer for a particular position, I
Okay,
do not.
I appreciate the comments. Thank you, and I would like you to come back, and I would like you to bring those ideas to add to our agenda, then we could cover them and have, new ideas that we can explore.
I'm sorry, these are not new ideas, they're fundamental obligations of the community center that I'm talking about. They're not brand new ideas I'm suggesting.
I am not
These are probably
suggesting they were
ideas
new
from-
ideas, but maybe new ways to explore those ideas.
Well, the conversation, I mean, anyway.
Okay.
I intend to come, I intend to make this, whether I assume or not here, I intend to make this more accountable to the community, because I feel like it's not. Maybe it is, and you can tell me how it is, but certainly the tenor of this meeting is not giving me confidence that my time will be spent usefully becoming here in the future. And that's a concern for all of us. It should be, especially for you folks, because you're on the board. You're volunteered to be on the board. It comes to an obligation to listen to the community. This is not an elected position like something else, with a very defined list of responsibility, but you still have a responsibility. And I hope that, saying your new ideas, that's actually, I find it patronizing, I'm sorry, but, asking this community center to be more openly communicative with the community around, to which it has special obligation, it's not a new idea. It's a fundamental obligation that you all have failed. I don't know how long you're on the board, so I'm not putting it on you individually, but the board, the community center have failed in that. I can bring the names of at least 100 people, if you like, if you refute my proposition, that this center has tried to actually talk to people in the area. Have you all done that? If you say, yes, we have, and I'm not represented, maybe I'm not represented, I'm happy to agree with that. If you think, yes, you haven't, I would like to see what efforts have been made to reach out to people. I remember Pat's emails from 15 years ago, it is saying, so-and-so date, there's a meeting, people come to the, center, whatever. I have not seen any such communication after 15 years. I don't know why Pat has stopped. I don't know why, what everybody else is doing, but I have not seen it, and it's a concern. I have not used this, I've lived here 20 years, I have wanted to. And I think many people like me, I'm not bringing mine as a special case. That's not such a big problem because one person is not getting what they want, but I think it's a bigger problem. Yeah.
Thank you for your comment.
I was surprised to see people from Mountain View, other places coming in using this pool. I don't know how many the Rinconada area are doing it. Do you have that information? From this area, which is,
Yeah, I don't have it right here.
that's totally fine. I'm just, but I think is that information being collected?
Actually,
There are 400 households. There are 400 households in our little district.
I'm just curious to hear how many of them have actually used this pool, this center for the meeting.
actually,
Nobody knows about anything, and that's why I went on Nextdoor, because I wanted to have this whole thing aired out and have people from the neighborhood come in here and express their concerns. And until we went on Nextdoor, people, how many you said, you said, you didn't even know it was here, right? Remember?
I agree. I would like to hear what Steve has to say. If you don't mind, you were.
in response to what you said, we've tried over the years, everything we can think, our limited group has thought of in terms of outreach. Some have been better than others. One of the things that, in answer to one of your questions, you want to know how many of the 400 odd households actually use the pool. We don't have that information, but from the surveys we've done with the people who've actually come here to use it, since 1956 when it started, the majority of users have always lived from outside the district. In all those years, it looks that way because it's certainly been that way in terms of the woman who was sitting there from Mountain View. She's not alone. We have people from Los Altos, and before Santa Clara Swim Center happened, this was where you came if you were a local person and you didn't belong to a pool, a country club, and so we trained Olympic swimmers here. In our little pool that was here before this one, littler pool that was here. So I really appreciate the fact that at this meeting we've had more people come than I've seen in years total.
Yeah, Sophie and I invited.
And so that's good because we can always use input and we listen. And we in terms of public outreach, we do everything that's legally required and then some. But some things don't reach people. And I hear what you said because in a different way, because you're not alone. The majority of people who live within half a mile of where we're standing right now generally take a couple of years to find out this pool is here. When they built Barrington Bridge and they rebuilt and put the street in and stuff, they told all the Barrington Bridge people, oh, this is your clubhouse. And so the only way you knew it wasn't a clubhouse for just the people in here was the fact that that wood sign was out there saying, you know, Rancho Rinconada established 1956. Unless you came by and asked, because we've always publicly posted, anybody that stops by can read when we have minutes, and we've got handouts to talk about the programs we've offered.
We've got banners also.
And we've got banners out there, so.
They're down now.
Except they're down now, so anyway, we can always improve, everybody can always improve the services they offer and the advertisements they do. So we can get better, and we appreciate, I certainly appreciate all your criticisms.
I have one thing to add. He hired a marketing manager at some point, and I don't know what they did, but the sign for swimming lessons has disappeared. And I don't know who this marketing manager was, but I don't think they did a very good job.
Can I just a survey of the areas that's why not using the pool? I mean, maybe it's historically true that 656, it's always people outside the area using this pool. That means people in this area have been scammed for that long. 656, why is there property tax? It's very simple, isn't it? It's a very, very, very basic question. Why are the property tax of people in this area being used for this pool if they're not using the pool?
Some
I mean,
of them build their own,
Sorry?
some of them build their own. You know, I don't know.
Actually, if you
I
Google
mean,
Maps, there are
I
very,
know a lot of
very few
people who are
pools in this
allergic
area.
to chlorine, they don't use the pool.
I have one last thing to say, which is that, again, I don't mean to be rude with Agnon, I appreciate all the time that you all must have spent over the years. And it's not easy to go through reports and keep track and, you know, come to the meeting on a regular basis. I understand all of that, Agnon boards as well, but at the same time, I have to ask, do you think that anything with the fact that this area has changed demographics quite a bit in the last 30 years, that is not reflected on this board? Again, it's not a huge criticism, but you know, one response again, I quit certain boards after a number of years because you have to make room for other people, period. You just step off no matter what. There might be no legal term limits, but you have to put your own legal term limit on it.
I agree with you. I mean, one of the problems I've had is that this is the first time since before I joined the board that we've had 3 people for 2 positions, and so every time we file every year, nobody else files. And so one criticism I saw next door was a guy saying, you should step aside. Well, the problem is, if any one of us step aside, then we have a vacancy that doesn't get filled, and it could be, and if it's not filled within 30 days by appointment by the board, then our supervisor appoints whoever they want. If you look at other special districts that I'm aware of within just Santa Clara County, when the supervisor appoints somebody, they don't necessarily appoint somebody from the area or somebody who has any idea what that special district does. And there are other special districts that tell me we can't function anymore because we have so many people on our board who don't show up for meetings because they don't care, but they're appointed. So I'm glad, and I'm really hoping that the guy who Shiva Ann, I think his name was, who posted my response to him would be, hey, you missed this cycle, but there's another cycle in 2 years, and I'd love to see 14 candidates for those 3 seats. But in truth, we never get any more than just the amount of seats we have.
Did you ever ask anyone?
That's another thing too, like, I was
Yes, I
running
did.
before, but
Well, who did
I
you
never
ask?
got it any
Julie.
information.
10 years ago, we had a
No,
vacancy.
Pat, she came through Pat's writing club.
No.
That's
I
what
came to-
Jennifer
no,
said.
I came to fill Dave Mendes' place. It's still
And-
awesome.
And then other times, we had a person who stayed about a year, she moved out of the area. The guy I replaced, he retired from the post office and moved out of the area within a month and said, well, we need a replacement. So I said, okay, I'll do it.
But nobody has to step off drastically. You all just have to walk on the street and talk to neighbors and ask. I mean, I'm not suggesting that getting in board university means you just quit then and there and then there's nobody in the city and supervisor. I mean, that's just like a very drastic
It's-
situation.
It's
That
advertised.
doesn't have to happen.
It's advertised every election by the registrar of voters, and about 5 or 6 years ago, Jordan applied and he got on the board.
That's because you and Pat forgot to file.
That's because we
Whatever.
forgot to file, and so he automatically joined the board. There was only one person for 2 seats, so I rejoined the board thanks to the board deciding I was doing a good job, and they let me back
No, they
on.
didn't. You and Pat flipped and you won.
So,
You know,
What I
why don't you tell the
understand-
truth, you know? You,
We get back on the agenda.
yeah, we're gonna close comments and, pick up on the agenda.
That's true. It's great.
I'm sorry to interrupt the meeting, but I really thought there would be time created when it was not, I just had to say some things. And I'm sorry for, if the agenda is, does not get fulfilled today, but I think, I hope you all see that these concerns need to be addressed, you are not addressing them, and so, I had to step in with something. I really wish you all had created the time in the first half an hour saying, let's have a broader discussion about this. We are aware that there was some, unhappiness around this.
I'm
We should have done that.
We were hoping that as going through the meeting, you would see the things, you got through the financial report, so that could be informative to those questions.
We won't answer all of them, but at least it might help some.
That was the reasoning.
But I think an acknowledgement is always very important. Acknowledgement of, we see the problem, we understand it, and in some ways we are part of it because we are on the board. Simply for that reason, not for any individual personal reasons, but because you're on the board, in some ways you all have greater responsibility than any person who might walk into a meeting or not.
Well, I think Steve covered it when he said that. We continue to strive to improve on these things.
Thank you, and in the future, I hope to talk to some of you individually or as a board to see what those efforts consisted of. At the very least, I think we need to have a survey of the area and make sure everybody knows that it exists. A simple flyer would do it, I think.
It's
I'm
already
sorry.
8:05.
Other people have it.
Thank you.
So we're talking about the salary ranges, and I went over, how they were put together. And like I said, I also have a compensation survey just received it today. This is from Livermore Recreation Area, it's a special district. It also, shows similar things. So, what I'm hoping, I'm presenting this, to the board because it's requested.
So we need to make a motion here to accept that.
If something needs to happen,
Okay, so in order to accept this, we're looking for a motion to approve on these salary ranges.
or any further direction on this one.
You talked about some specific direction.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any questions about this, we, then we can work on that, or if there's like a timeline for implementation. Obviously, current salaries are not, very, in some cases, they're not really where they should be, and doing that suddenly might cause issues, so a timeline for implementation might be reasonable.
when you get a 5% raise, that's $20,000 a year. I think that's a lot. That's a big raise from 99 to 120.
Oh, no, that's not what
No.
was.
That's not yours?
No, no.
No,
It looked like
that
the
was never
chart,
proposed.
the chart that's, that I don't know where it is now.
So just to
What
clarify,
page is it? Oh, what page is that?
That's a salary range, but it's not a salary.
No, it's not.
Okay, so
That
we're,
looks like, Steve proposed 5%. That's $20,000.
No.
you,
It's 5,000.
these are benefits.
Oh, okay, I said, okay, go from
English
99
teacher.
Less than
to
that.
120.
Right, but that's step 5, that could be in 5 to 10 years,
Yes.
that's not necessary, these are just steps, it's sort of, there's no time associated
Okay, but
with
the
this.
chart that I saw last week, the 5% was about 104. So what's the difference between this chart and the other chart?
So the chart last month was based on the CSDA survey, which is also part of this. So special districts released a survey of salaries across California.
Okay, well, what's this one?
So this one, like I was explaining earlier, is based on Cupertino and all surrounding cities with comparable job descriptions in there, plus special districts in the Bay Area, plus the aggregate, or I guess the median from the salary survey. And then it's all put together. And like I said, it's all transparent. It's on a spreadsheet available online. Available to the link. So you're welcome to take a look at it. And that's where we arrived at these numbers. Now, it's not important to hit them straight on. The Livermore survey is from a third party. So they say that if it's within 10%, then that's fine. So it's not like this has to be set in stone. It's just I was asked, and so I delivered.
So, though, we were looking for a more, I guess, broader range for the accountant records managers within, as well as, and then to go ahead and put some sort of steps over time that we make these adjustments, for, the program manager and account manager. So that's something you can bring back to us next time. And then, we'll look at the salary ranges again, to approve them for next time.
That makes sense, because it will be the new board next time.
No,
Isn't that
no.
start January?
January's a new board.
No, it's
Sorry, percent. Okay. Fine. Then now we're moving to landscape services, which really is, I kind of went brain dead on this because we had done some sort of pesticide policy. Is that correct?
Yeah,
And there's a list of green gardeners. And if we're not looking at that, it's also possible to ask gardeners that we take on to, either take these green gardener classes and or see if they can work within those types of, I think we had done that with another, contractor we had, that we asked for specifically, more moderation in pesticide use and stuff, so, that's probably irrespective of this, but maybe, whoever we look at, to see that, we can have greener options, since we are a green
business.
business.
We just
Yeah,
got recertified.
I have a comment about live planning. I want to make a motion that they be fired ASAP, because they let this whole property go dead. And one of our board members had the audacity to say that he hoped it would all die, because he doesn't believe in watering. And I was just furious, and I went to the live planning guy, and I told him that he needed to clean this place up. It was dead, the whole thing, the lawn, the plants. He said, oh, Kevin said it wasn't in the budget, there wasn't enough money in the
Okay,
budget.
we're-
And you be quiet. And he said, I said, well, I don't care, you need to get this place back in order. And he did, but now he's slacked up again, and I think he needs to be fired and hire somebody that's competent.
that's, it's on the agenda.
It's
Yes.
right here, live planet.
It is also a few others that perhaps if you don't like Live Planet, you can make a motion to,
I think they need to be fired. Why are we paying them $700? Nothing even to do there now.
please talk with.
I apologize for that joke 2
It
months ago.
wasn't a joke, you were dead serious when you
No,
said it.
it was
Then
a
you
joke.
said it was a joke after I made an issue about it.
Well, we have here, options, we have Live Planet, we have Penelon, and we have, TND landscaping.
But I'm
the-
hearing that we want to do a bit more research into their green policies, is that
Well,
Before we pick one.
before we choose?
Why are we paying Live
if
Planet
you're willing to wait.
$700 to destroy the property? And then they charged us close to $8,000 to fix it. And then we're supposed to, you know what, I am so furious with this board that I cannot contain myself, okay? So I'm just saying this stuff when people are here that aren't on the board and they can hear what goes on here. And like I said, he destroyed the property and then he charged us $8,000, well, it was $7,500. And I told Kevin, I said, I think we should share part of that cost. Because Kevin, it was his problem too. Because I brought it to his attention, he says, oh, I guess I forgot to turn the water on, I hadn't been on for 2 weeks.
We
So,
need you
and
to
he
address
ended up giving us,
program. We need
this
you.
is, it's Live
No,
Planet. You know what?
We don't, we, okay.
You don't want people to hear what's going on, that's the problem. And I do, and that's why I brought it next door to the table. And this lady here came to our, and I would like hopefully more people to come.
Stephen?
Of that 7,000 plus that are outlined in the last meeting's agenda, attachments, less than $500 was the cost of replacing all those plants, more like 200 to 300. And the Live Planet people agreed not to take any profit on any of that work. So they shared the cost of the loss, even though the cause of the loss is the fact that no PVC pipe lasts more than 20 years because roots break them in place. And because it's been 20 years about since this facility was rebuilt,
That is so
we're
BS.
we're patching PVC everywhere, so we get leaks all the time.
We'd like to have some decorum.
He has an invoice that you could see, Steve, and he charged us $7,500.
It's not detailed.
And he took $1,700 or $1,900 off.
Anyway,
And now, that's the facts, okay?
so
And you can
basically he
spin it
supplied,
any way you want.
so he supplied the replacement plants
You
essentially
should have.
free,
You let them die.
and then some.
Okay.
That's all I'm
So
saying.
what action do we want to
There's
take
a
on
motion on
this?
the table.
I'm making a motion to fire Live Planet.
But nobody's seconding. Yeah,
No, nobody will either.
Okay, but we can take action or look at the options that we have if we don't like Live Planet. There's been some other options mentioned here, and if that's not appropriate for you, perhaps you would
In
be
the
interested
meantime,
in one of these others.
in the meantime, we can fire Live Planet.
no, our
Because they are
plants will
sucking
die.
$700 out of our taxpayers' money, and they don't even show up half the time. And when they do, and I have witnessed this myself, the truck is parked here, and they're not here. And one day, the girls were closing up, and I said, is the gardener here? And I don't know. And I said, well, if he is, he's locked in.
So
And I
we,
looked
we,
all
wait,
over.
we have somebody here who had their hand up and would like to make a comment first.
As someone who's just here, I would just feel like I would personally want to hear more about the other alternative of other alternative gardening, kind of opportunities out there. I understand that maybe live gardening hasn't done the best job, I understand that, but I personally would want to hear more about those other services that those other places provided rather than.
Yes,
I
they're
feel like-
going
I feel like
about,
it's-
thank you for
I was
your,
just wanting to, I feel like it stated that yes, we need to change,
yeah.
but I just wanted to hear the other options that we had, maybe move in a more progressive kind of manner.
Do I
There we
have
go,
an agenda?
thank
Did
you.
you get one?
Yes.
Yeah, he'd like to
Okay.
hear
It's
about
on
the
the
events
agenda, so
covered
it's-
by Live Planet, he got that.
So how much, Steve, did you say the landscaping was spent? That when I just recently did it?
What was your question?
How much it costs to do the landscaping?
Just, are you talking about just the landscaping that needed replacement because it died? A couple $100 is best, my best
There's a
guess.
good breakdown in the last month's minutes.
Well, I saw.
Yeah, there's no breakdown in there that specifically talks about it, but if you look at the descriptions in the invoices, all three of those invoices had 3 or 4 other items they took care of in addition to one or two of them were replacing dead plants. But when I look at the number of dead plants and I price them over at retail, which we wouldn't be charged retail, we're only talking a couple $100 worth of plants that got replaced. The rest is the labor to fix multiple leaks in the system and to do the normal replacement of the ground cover, which deteriorates over a space of a couple of years. You have to add more.
That's because he
So-
wasn't paying attention,
So, wait,
and the water was.
so- I found something online, it says spring, Xeriscape repair maintenance, 2018. So this is not what you guys are talking about?
That's the total cost in there. But that's including some of the stuff that has to be done, again, such as the drip irrigation, the mulch, which again, because of the grading of the island, it actually flows off into the street, you get lost. So, it's a, labor-intensive process.
In fairness, and in response, I don't really want to respond in that way, but I'm not here 24/7, but every time I'm here and Live Planet shows up, they get out of their truck and they do something. I see them doing something. I've never seen them just park here and do nothing. So, and I see them here, since I'm usually here at least most days of the working week. I see them there at least once a week, usually twice lately, because they've got things to fix.
What time?
During the hours when the sun is up, so that they can see what they're doing.
So
But
can
the
we
other
get
night
back
they-
to
they
what
fixed this-
action we want to take on item number
Thank
4?
I mean,
Do we want to get more information on the green aspect?
Sounds like you
Or
do.
do we, which is what Miriam had asked for?
I don't, the thing is that I did look, and they, do talk about, working with some sort of IPM, which is a, integrated pest management, that, and like here we have the Petalon, they talk about, they have the pesticide precautionary statement. So I see that they, do, have addressed what they will do, and how they will do it in terms of using those things. And I'm willing to go ahead and choose one if we want to, but to express to them that, yeah, that we see
Right.
that they're making efforts here with their precautionary, and that we appreciate that, but that, so we make sure that they use their IPM and that precautionary.
Any idea why T&D Landscaping came at it twice the amount?
That was also similar to what happened when we first went out to bid for Live Planet. There were some that were in the high, just the same as this. There's some, it seems like there's some that are very low and there's some that are double, and I'm not sure why. So I hope, yeah.
Dear board, I just want to let you know, both myself and other dog owners, we like to walk around. I have 2 comments. One is I would be delighted to hear that there were 0 pesticides, because it is very damaging. But not just to the dog, but the squirrels and the birds and everything, and down the runoff, and even the deer that I saw run through one day. So please, I beg of you. But secondly, I want to applaud you. The plants that were replaced, white sage, other California natives, they should require very little water and actually increase education to Californians about the wonderful plants that we have. Thank you.
They need water when you first plant them to get established,
To get
and then you can taper it off.
And then, but maybe if we have rain, then they should be pretty good after that.
You said it was a waste of water, Steve. Now you've all changed.
So are we
I'm
feeling
sorry
as
if you took
though
my joke
replacing Live Planet with Petalon may be, a good idea, especially since they're also Barrington Bridge landscapers?
Are they? Okay, yes, so it's.
Yeah, we
And
can
it would
try-
make sense
Trying to make
to
some
have them,
sense.
because I'd be prepared, if that's the case, I will make a motion to switch from Live Planet to Petalon.
Listen, you spoke with Barrington Bridge about how, with the service?
I have not.
Or local?
I drive past it every day. It seems to be about the same.
Okay.
I did notice that around the same time as our landscape ground, theirs did as well. They recently lost a tree on the curb, but I think that's just normal mold issue, I guess that happens. So, I haven't noticed a deficiency, but I can contact them first if you wanted to wait. But if you
Well,
Or can we get feedback from some of their other customers, you know? A list of satisfied customers, so we could ask them, how happy are you with Petalon? And we got experience with Live Planet, you know, because it is, like she's saying, it is compelling that they're about the same cost. And it's a change, and I'd say try them for a year, you know, because that's normally the way we try contracts, is we get a limit. Say, let's try them for a year, and then reevaluate, and let's say in like 11 months, because that'll get through at least part of all 4 seasons. A year from now, look at it again.
You made a motion to it?
I did make a motion
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'd second it so we can
as well.
decide
Okay.
or discuss it.
Okay, yeah, okay. Okay, so we have a motion to accept Petalon, for, your contract.
Plus, you want to make sure they won't use any pesticides because we're not using any now.
Okay, maybe that could be the,
contingent on.
Yeah,
contingent that,
contingent.
we'd like not to use the.
I mean, I'm as unhappy about soil amendments, but that's another issue.
Yeah, that's.
Did anyone second it?
I said,
It's posted.
Okay, so if we're prepared to call the question, I'll call the question, all in favor? Aye.
Do we have a, implementation time or do we only got?
I would say as soon as possible. I think, I don't know if we need to give like planet notice.
There's 30-day,
Yeah, I think it's.
I noticed that-
monthly, so,
does it have 30 days?
yeah, 30 days.
Yeah. That's customary, so.
So we're moving on to number 5, the Oasis Swim School.
Yeah, I have a question about that. So, on next door, Steve said that was not a conflict of interest. I guess everyone knew that Jay had his own swim school.
We talked to the lawyer.
So Jay was operating the swim school here,
And he still is, right?
and he still is,
Okay.
yeah. So he was operating the swim school here. I think we saw, what he was doing, and Kevin actually did come to the board to recommend that we hire Jay, and made us aware at the time that the reason that he had even seen him in the first place was because he was running the school
I
here.
don't remember that.
Would you like me to read what the lawyer said?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. This person consulted with attorneys specializing in ethics and conflict questions such as these. The response was, we understand the individual who holds a pre-existing rental contract with the district is now also a district employee. The individual had no involvement with approving his own rental agreement on behalf of the district. The fact that he is now a district employee poses no conflict of interest issue as long as he avoids involvement with any future decisions by the district to renew, amend, extend, or take action on his own rental contract, monitor that contract, etc. As long as he recuses himself from all activities, there are no conflict concerns. Multiple court and attorney general opinions support this conclusion. City firefighter could sell an invention to the city fire department as long as they participated solely in their private capacity and did not make the contracting decision on behalf of the city. Even when someone who holds a pre-existing contract with a public agency later becomes an elected official with that agency, there is no problem with the existing contract because the official was only involved in his or her private capacity when the contract was negotiated and signed. Although in those situations, the public agency cannot renew the contract as long as the person sits on the elected body, that is only because the member of the elected bodies do not have the option to recuse. That is, their conflict infects the entire body. This is not the case for employees who can always recuse themselves to prevent a conflict.
So what does that
I'm trying
mean?
to understand here. Okay, so is the employee a salary or an hourly employee?
I believe it.
Salary.
Current is fine.
And when they have their swim school here, are they working on taxpayer dime and teaching the classes where they're making money at the same time?
No, but they're not
Okay.
making money for the,
Okay.
he was hired, and this is the way I understood it, that Jay was hired because he was gonna bring a swim program to our facility, and that all those people that come to his swim school would be coming to our facility, and we would get the money. That is an LLC, and he operates this Oasis Swim School, which is in a total conflict with what we offer. We offer why didn't he come here as a program manager for programs for our facility? That just seems, and he's getting close to $60,000 a year to run a swim program here for our benefit, not his. And then I looked up the Oasis Swim School. He uses our pictorials like they were his, like this is his business. Like if you go and Google Oasis Swim School, our facility comes up, our address comes up. And it's a total conflict of interest because he could be bringing that money to our facility instead of putting it in his pocket for $80 an hour.
One difference,
No, there's no difference, and I would like to read the conflict of interest that I got from the law. okay? It says it's a guide, all right? Term used to describe the situation in which a public official or fiduciary who contrary an absolute duty to act for the benefit of the public or a designated individual exploits the relationship to personal benefit, typically pecuniary. Okay, that's one situation.
He's
The
not.
next one is a conflict of interest arises in the workplace when an employee has competing interests or loyalties that either is or potentially, can be at odds with each other. Conflict of interest causes an employee to experience a struggle between diverging interests. And the last one is, conflict of interest is a situation in which a person, internal auditor, who is in a position of trust, has competing professional or personal interests. Such competing interests can make it difficult to fulfill higher duties impartially. And we should have a policy in place for this, possibly. Now, he should be here as our program manager, running a program for us. And one of Steve's comments said, this is in writing, that it wasn't a conflict of interest because Jay teaches a Chinese
I was wrong
school.
about that.
Yeah, you were.
But the reason it isn't there is a reason it's not a conflict of interest, and
No,
it's
you're
totally separate.
lying again.
The reason it's not a conflict of interest is two reasons. One, he entered in the contract before he became an employee, and it wasn't a condition of employment at all.
I don't remember him
Two,
being around here beforehand.
He teaches
Well, when he
group
became an
lessons,
employee, he should
and we have
not be
found,
here.
we have found that none of our, clientele want group lessons. We've tried to offer them in the past, and it's never worked very much. We
Well,
had a
he
couple.
seems to be doing
So he just
okay.
does group lessons, but he does it
So
on
why
his own
wasn't
time, and he pays the same rent that every other,
It's a
user of
conflict
pays.
of interest.
I saw
No.
that
And
on
I'm
your
going to the
private time.
public integrity unit downtown at the
Good.
DA's office,
Good.
and they can decide if it
It's
is.
good.
So I have a question, why is the rent that he pays less than what?
No, it's the same.
No,
Is it the same? Cause I heard that he pays 80, but,
so it's a per lane cost, he pays the same amount as any kind of recurring renter. They have additional things they need to do, like they have to have their own insurance, for example.
okay, I
So
was
it's
gonna
not-
ask
And their own
about the whole
teachers and-
liability thing.
Yes, so it's a different thing, and, it's a common thing in the water, in the
It's a
aquatics
conflict
industry.
of interest is
To
what it
have
is.
something where you
Well,
rent
we
out your
consulted
lanes,
a
other
lawyer and they
master
said
swim
that.
programs, stuff like that.
Well,
So
where are
I'm
the
still-
rules? Where did this lawyer get his rules?
I'm still confused.
She's
So-
our lawyer from the county, and if that's the opinion we have to go by, because she works for us
We did
as
our
a,
best
as a district and as a county.
interest to follow through, and we
Yeah.
consulted a
I
lawyer.
don't know how
our
you
lawyer.
spun it, but
I-
this place is losing a lot of money with him running his private swim
Yeah, I-
school
I-
out of our facilities.
We're doing fine, we're doing fine.
I mean, I don't think we have time, but this is to discuss further, this is my recommendation. I mean, I'm part of the board, I'm just a member of the public, but I mean, it hits me in the face that it's a conflict of interest, so I understand you have a legal definition, but I have a very simple, basic, on the street, first of the street question to ask, we'll ask at the next meeting.
Well, I believe he's teaching in an off period, so it's a period that wasn't being offered, I mean.
Nobody
it
else
wasn't-
is using it.
It was
He's
supposed
also
to.
a
doesn't
full-time
have to be-
In
employee.
fact, that's another point I made
And we also
online,
have other
is that we
diving
don't rent out to other
schools, you know.
people at any time we have a program existing using our facilities. So he,
But couldn't we just do our own program?
Yeah,
we
well-
could, and he could do his own program.
That was
He's the
discussed.
program
It was
manager
discussed.
who was hired to run programs for this facility.
But none of these outside people, the scuba people, the Oasis or whatever, can run our facility if we have existing programs, even if we create new ones.
And use
We have
our ad.
priority
And
for
use our
programs
ad.
using our facilities.
Okay, and advertise
So
just
what
like it
does
was
he
in
do for
Rancho
us then?
Rinconada.
Cause I'm
It
just,
was the-
he does his school, so
So I
what
can
is
answer
his?
these questions.
You can
since,
answer that better.
I'm most familiar with what Jay does. So, what Jay does is he does scheduling in the winter. He does a lot of payroll in the winter. He also does head coaching part-time, and he splits that with the other responsibilities. He also assists me with a lot of the projects that we're doing, or we're trying to do in the off season, and that's his role. In the summer, because our swim program gets so big, he narrows his scope down to mostly just the coaching section there. That's how it works.
But I saw online that the Oasis Swim School had, they had hours in the summer.
They do,
Okay.
at night on the weekend. And so before he was an employee, before he was a renter, there was internal discussions about, and this is with staff, about whether it was possible, before going to the board, about whether we wanted to even try to make an evening weekend program. So in 2013, 2012, we didn't have weekend lessons. We didn't have spring and fall lessons. We introduced those in the morning on weekends, and we also stretched into the spring and fall. And the next step was, okay, do we want to make an evening lesson time as well? Because we could have. And the answer we came up with was no, we don't want to. And there's a few reasons for that. One, overtime. There's a lot of complex rules of overtime, especially something called seventh day, which if you're not aware of, you work the entire work week, 7 days a week, which happens, then the entire seventh day becomes overtime.
Double time.
Yeah. Well, so anyway, because of that additional complication, plus our young staff does not like to work on weekend evenings, we decided it was not worth doing at that time.
He's here with his program, why can't it be our program?
That was the discussion at the time. Then we had an opportunity where Jay came along, and this opportunity came along, and we said, okay, well, now there's someone who wants to run a program, will bring in steady income, and we don't have to worry about the complication or anything. Is it less income? Sure. But again, we don't have to, expend extra energy on the complexities of scheduling, which are already maddeningly difficult. So that's
So we're getting the rental income
yes,
without having to pay out the payroll
Right.
around the program.
absolutely.
It's less,
Yes.
but we're not paying out.
Actually, no expenses essentially, right?
Just facility maintenance.
Just the fact that we've got to
As
keep
long
that
as
pool
he
healthy at
can do
all
it
times.
During his work hours.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's on the weekend.
This Saturday.
I don't care,
No,
then
I
you should be
never- that's
bringing
a little-
those
no.
people, he
I don't
should be
think that's-
bringing those people to our
Right.
facility,
That's
not,
right.
I mean, I can't believe you people,
That's,
the way you spin
that's
things.
his business. I mean, he
I don't
did that
care if
first.
it's legal, it's wrong, we should be getting that money.
I mean, this country is founded on capitalism and a fundamental understanding of people's self-interest. His self-interest lies in getting students to his program, not to this, not because he's an evil man, because he's human being in self-interest, which all of us are, I
That's
think.
it, self-interest.
He would channel people to his school, and to his, his particular private contract plan. Insofar as he can do it, he would do that.
The
That
Oasis,
is conflict of interest, it's not because of his individual personality.
It's a long established rule that, that you can't tell somebody what to do when they're off duty. This is his personal time, and if he chooses to run a school in his personal time instead of walking on the beach with his dogs,
yeah, he can do it
That's
as long as it's
that's
on a
correct,
swim
but
program.
this board does not have to outsource this swimming pool where he's working.
but we're not
to
outsourcing
him.
it.
Somebody else
We're
can do
renting
it.
We're renting it, just like we do to the scuba diver.
But he's a.
No,
Salary
a diver, we don't have a
Salary
diving
is
program
salary
here.
employee.
It's not during
The
his
salaried
work.
employee.
It's not during his work.
He's getting paid as salaried employee,
Then why
he's
isn't he
running
an
his
hourly
own
employee?
LLC
He's also
out of
managing.
our facility.
This is an example.
It
It's
just
a
has to be
conflict
someone
of
else.
interest.
It's a good idea to rent the pool out to somebody.
Yeah, really.
When this center does not want to rent for whatever reasons.
It doesn't
And
look
he can
good.
run his own, yes, you cannot tell people what to do in their private time, but those two don't have to do the same thing, that you take an employee here and give him the contract, give it to somebody else.
Yeah, right.
It's just so, I don't understand
Yeah,
why
I don't
this
either.
is,
Yeah,
you cannot give
And
an
also,
employee to
He
somebody else.
uses our office for his business
No.
because, oh, you be quiet, because I was here on a Saturday and I was looking for something and his wife went into the office and she had total access to the office and the rental hall because she had friends in here, 5 or 6 people. And it was Jay's wife. And at the time, I thought, you know what? These people are doing a really good job here, maybe he should be the manager. And then I found out he's got a private swim school going on here, and we're paying him $60,000 $2,000 a year, and they're spending it so that it's all legal. Well, it looks really bad. It looks really bad.
It may look really bad, but.
Yeah,
it's-
it looks bad, and
But
that's gonna
occurrence
cause,
and reality are two things. I mean, it's legal, and we've got.
a lot of things are legal, Steve, that look really bad and are bad.
But it not looks right, I mean, why would he not channel students to his personal welfare rather than, I mean, you placing very high demand on somebody's integrity when you say, you have your own private school here, where somebody comes and asks you on the street, you know, when can I come attend your classes, you say, don't come to my class, go to the, when I has some benefit, but go to the other one, who would do that?
How
It's
many,
an
of
unfair
our,
expectation, I would say.
how many of our people go to his swim school? How many people has he siphoned off from our business to go to his swim school?
Right, that's what
We'll
you
never
said.
know the answer.
We never
That is why
know.
we
What was your name?
My name's,
Yeah.
my name is Josh.
Josh,
Do you
thank you,
work
Josh.
here, Josh, do you work here?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, well, you're part of the problem then, probably.
He's part of the public and he can offer it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As someone who's been and who's seen his work as well, because I was a lifeguard here and I've been working here for about 4 years, but I seen the lessons he offers are a little more different, and so I feel like it's like,
Depends on like what you're looking for in your swim lesson.
yes.
Cause like we offer like one-on-one, and there's a lot of parents who are like, yes, one-on-one. There are also a lot of parents who like want group lessons, and we found, as Kevin has said, that we don't do well when we offer group lessons, but maybe like whoever he's bringing in does, and they don't want like Rancho, they're not interested in Rancho, they're interested in Oasis.
Why don't you answer the question is, why are we paying a program manager, the way it was presented to me, that he was a program manager that came on board, when, I'm not sure, but he was gonna run a program for us. And I don't know how the rest of this board understood it, but I never would have approved of a private swim school coming in here, siphoning off business from us for an LLC, for a private business,
But we've done it
from
before.
a salaried employee. If you had a business, Steve,
No, we've done it
and
before to
listen to
two
me,
other
let me
swim
give you
schools
an
in the past.
example.
That's not a reason to do anything. I
It's,
mean, that's a
it
classic
stinks.
argumentative fallacy.
It
That just
stinks.
because in the past we should do it, now we should not.
Like, he should leave, and then he can not be our program manager anymore, and then he can rent the pool and run his Oasis swim school here, and he won't be part of our employee. He's an employee, he's a salaried employee, and gets paid an exorbitant amount of money, in my opinion.
I get the ethical thing. I, like you, would prize ethics over what is technically legal. I would, however, think in this personnel issues, since we already have this situation, what it would be like to let somebody go or change the nature of their employment could in itself be a legal issue. And so you would need legal counsel on that. You know what I'm saying? Or they're in that situation now, what happens, what's the ramification if they try to change that?
Anyway, it doesn't look good, and I don't care how legal it is, it can't be legal, because it's a conflict of interest. It's an obvious, blatant conflict of interest.
Can we hear from the board what will be done about this? Because at least, I mean, members of the public, the three of us at least, right, have a particular view on that. I mean, we seem to have some rough consensus on the fact that there is in fact some conflict of interest here, and one board member also feels similarly. Therefore, what can the board do about this issue?
Well,
And
we
we also feel
followed
the
up
same
to see
page,
if
but-
it was an issue and our lawyer said it isn't.
Yeah, well, she's not here.
He fits a certain niche in the community here, offering services that we don't. And if
We
you-
would have him if he brought the program and the people for us. That's the point.
Not necessarily.
As things develop going forward, when we, as programs come up, we adopt to whatever is the, working at that point, things change.
But there's a
He
demand
came and he brought this program, that's how it was working, and he delivers his own work
Then he
here.
never should have been hired as a program manager.
I'm just
Right,
questioning,
yeah.
when does his contract expire?
There is no contract, there never was.
thank God.
That's why we're
So
trying to
all
do
the
contracts.
When you mentioned contract, I thought you were talking to the rental contract. He has a rental contract which preceded employment. That's all.
Can you, when does that expire? Can you cancel that?
No, as is the case with all of our rentals, it's kind of open-ended.
I think one of them needs to end. If
I
there is-
think so too.
If there is a gap in the market, he is welcome to address it, good for him. People are benefiting from it. He cannot do it as an employee. It's such a blatant conflict of interest. Why would he not, put, channel students to his school? I would do it if I had a private school versus I'm not where I'm making money versus another school where I'm not making money. I would, of course, all of us would, of course, channel them to our private
I
school.
think we
kind of
covered
a
that.
no-brainer.
I think we covered that there are people who disagree with us, but we've made, a vote and we made, followed up on our, covering what problems we would find out, and that was assured to us that we were within.
Well, I think we need to
And
get
it does
another
not
opinion.
suggest that it's a conflict of interest. This is the lawyer, the county lawyer, that is, serves us when we have questions. We, defer to that person's, when we don't
You're a
know.
lawyer, she's a lawyer, we're not.
So we go to that person when we have issues that we think can be concerned, and we did. And I'd like to close this now.
And I'm not done. I don't
We
think
are
you explained to
done.
her
We
exactly
are
what's
done.
going on here.
You
And this is
made-
all hearsay.
It's right here. I got it
It's
right
all here. She's not here. She's not here.
She
You
has
can't
an
introduce
email.
stuff
I have
when
an
people
email.
aren't here, because we can't question her. And that's the law.
We can always post that on the website, because it's a legal opinion, I think.
Everybody knows about this on the website, and the taxpayers are outraged. Maybe you think it's okay, but the people that are paying his salary and the program manager's salary, they don't think it's okay. They think it stinks.
I pay my part, I think it's okay, based on the legal opinion.
You two don't even live in the neighborhood. So
I
there,
have a vested interest.
they don't even live, yeah, they
I think it's
they own a
time.
rental house. He owns a rental house, she
No.
owns a rental house.
I don't
They
know.
don't even live in the neighborhood.
I own a rental house in
Why? You say
Sacramento.
you-
I would
live
like
here.
to continue
lives on
on our
Barney
agenda.
Drive.
Actually, I did research on it, and it said your former address was on Johnson and your current address is on Vine.
I tried using the Google thing you pointed out, and I hadn't Googled myself since before they went public. And the only way it would give me an answer like that is if I paid $85.
When was the last time you slept overnight there in a
So-
for a month in a row?
That's not the subject here.
To the
Yeah, you don't
agenda.
live there.
May I
We
ask
see
you
you all
what
the
if
time.
you know what's of your
You know
May I
where
ask
you
if you do live here?
Yeah.
No,
You don't?
but I have a
No,
vested
she
interest.
She lives in
Which
Campbell.
is my
She lives
home.
in Campbell. They
Here.
were
I have
grandfathered
renters
in.
No.
there. I need to be.
That's a misnomer.
My vested
I'm not
interest
grandfathered
is
in.
how the property is here and what goes on here.
She lives in Campbell.
Yeah, but I have property here.
So
That's what I
what?
consider
So
a
what?
vested interest.
And you
If
have
you-
you have to be grandfathered in.
If you look at,
Grandfathered.
Yes,
if you look at my
you
Form
are.
700
If you
for the
look at
last
the-
5 years, I've listed the fact that I inherited my parents' house too. And I have so much crap, I live in 2 homes. I'm trying to get it down to 1 home, but that's my personal problem, and it has nothing to do with the
You
business of this
asked me
board.
about grandfather clause.
I'm trying to.
Remember when
So
you
I
asked
own-
me?
I own both houses.
This house is in.
Plus the house in Sacramento, plus 59
I'd
acres
like
and
to call
another
the
county.
meeting to order.
You know,
Thank you.
I own
He
lots of
remembers the
property.
grandfather clause.
It's not a grandfather.
He has to call and find out how it works.
Yes, and it's
Yeah,
fine,
please.
it's perfectly
So
fine.
there
Can we
is a
continue
grandfather
with
clause.
the agenda?
If I didn't have a legal right to be on the board, the registrar wouldn't have put my name
You,
on it.
yeah, right.
Okay.
That's the
You
law.
do, because of the grandfather clause.
And I've voted
Is
here
that all your
since
names?
1990.
I'd like to
76
move on
since
to
I
the
moved here.
agenda. Sandy, you want to cover ethics matters? Is
Yeah, I
that
do.
a motion or something?
Yeah. Okay, at the last meeting, one of the members brought outside information to the closed meeting. And the board
Where is she?
acted on that information that she brought in. from the outside. And I can tell you what the conflict of interest is. Section 4. I have it written down on one hand. Anyway, the long and the short of it is, according to the manual, that somebody cannot bring in information into a closed meeting without the approval of the board, either during or before the meeting. And that was done. And something was approved based on that information. And I think that was an ethics violation. Because it was. Okay, section 4. Here we go. You don't have that, I have it. I was gonna make it, okay. A board member is not authorized without approval of the board to disclose information that qualifies as confidential information under applicable provisions of law to a person not authorized to receive it that has been received for or during a closed session meeting of the board. Is protected from disclosure under attorney-client or other evidentiary privilege. Or 3, is not required to be disclosed under California Public Records. So this was a clear violation when that person brought that information and something was very important was decided, and it shouldn't have been, based on that information.
If I might clarify, if you say that kind of sounds like what you read, then it means you're not supposed to disclose something that happened in a closed session, outside of the closed session. What
No,
you're saying happened in the
it
office.
says, I'll read it to you again.
Thank you, I just wanted
Okay.
clarification on
A board member is not authorized without approval of the board to disclose information that qualifies as confidential information under applicable provisions of law to a person not authorized to receive it that has been received for or during a closed session meeting of the board.
Right, so that's what that's saying, is that's saying if you have something in a closed session, bringing out to tell someone something unauthorized.
Yeah, but that's what happened.
Well, but you said someone came in.
But why are you?
No. Somebody, I can't tell you what it was about, I guess, because it was a closed session.
Well,
Okay,
right,
do you want me to tell you what it was?
I think if you have a concern, you're free to consult our lawyer on that.
Yeah.
And she or he is the best person to advise you.
I don't need a lawyer to do that, the rules.
Well,
are
if
right
there
here.
are.
It's a
okay,
matter of
so if
law.
you
You guys
feel-
always want to get a lawyer.
So
for
if you
something
feel
that's
that there are
common sense.
actions that need to be taken as a
Yes, you
result
were the
of
one
that,
who did it.
then
You
you
were the one.
need to talk to the lawyer.
I can provide you with the information.
I don't need to,
That's
I
the
got,
talk, I have
the
the
board
little.
policy is right here.
That's
You did that.
That's not our
You
board
know
policy.
you did it.
Policy, that's someone else's.
All
policy.
kinds
That's
of,
SCR and
all
Maine's
kinds
board
of
policy.
funny stuff goes on at these meetings. And I'm glad that the 2 people that came, and I wish more people would come next time.
Agree with that.
See, it's all, okay, she's all done, talking, let's move on and not do anything about anything.
Do you have a motion on the table?
Yeah, we can-
No action is ever taken that I care about, like this contract business. That's a total goodie package for Kevin, a goodie package, in case he ever wants to resign, or we ever want to get rid of him, we're gonna have to pay him a whole lot of money with a lot of circumstances attached to it. Do you have a copy of that?
I'm sorry?
You have a copy of the contract?
Yes, I did that. Yes.
I have the agenda.
Read it.
Okay, and now that ethics is on the agenda, we in the past have approved harassment policies in regard to sexual and other protective,
What's that got to
Members.
do with anything?
because I'm talking about ethics.
Well, I'm talking about a particular matter of ethics, I'm not talking
And
about
you
sexual.
didn't have an actual item.
You
I
put
was.
forward-
Yeah, I do, but I
No,
can't
actually,
say
you
it
put
because it
plural.
was a closed meeting.
You said, you put
No,
plural
what
ethics
family-
matters.
Well, I don't know. I'm going down to the, public integrity unit downtown because somebody gave me their name. His name is John Chase, and I'm gonna figure out what's going on here.
Okay, so, I'd like to introduce a new policy. It's, our anti-bullying policy. Did you bring a copy of this?
I did not, I can,
You're anti-what?
Bullying,
well, we can send.
I think the idea was that we would, distribute that for the next meeting, but just bring the board aware that we
okay,
will
so we didn't
be,
have it.
because we didn't have.
Does that include me getting bullied by the rest of you?
Something to, consider for our, to bring that, policy to, vote on for next time, so you'll have it.
The other-
Send it out before our meeting.
Oh, it's
Yes,
after you
no.
finish. The other agenda item we have to remember for the December meeting is to vote on the officers for the next year.
For December, in December.
In December, yeah.
Okay.
Are there, are there any other items we need to put on the agenda for next month?
So far I have lap swim, outreach, and officer vote. Is there anything else that needs to be?
Yeah, I wanna talk about conflict of interest and ethics again,
Yeah, we have that,
We will have that.
next time.
right? Yeah, we'll bring it up policy.
Thank you.
Marketing and PR.
Oh,
Did you say that?
I put as outreach.
Oh, outreach,
But,
okay, sorry.
I mean, I can-
Yeah.
yeah.
Our discussion about outreach, I mean, I think at the next meeting, it should be a matter of concern, and assuming it is to actually find out from the 400 households in the area, how many of them know this place exists. What efforts are made on an annual basis to let them know this place exists. And all of that can start by finding out how people know that. I would like to commission a survey of households to see how many people actually heard about this place, that it exists, and what efforts have been made to, let them know that you have this facility that we can use.
There was also something about a 700 amendment. I guess that's what it was about. It said some kind of conflict of interest. It could have just said it was a 700 form. How does Jay fill out his 700 form?
He doesn't because he's not part of the
Pardon
decision. He doesn't because he's not part of the decision-making process. This is the governing board.
I
which
would
does the
say he
process.
is. I would say he's part of the decision-making.
He doesn't make
process.
policy.
Yeah, he's not.
Everybody here makes policy or recommends it, so all of us have.
Okay, so he doesn't have to file a 700
That's
form.
correct.
Great.
So, I'm sorry, so employees do not have to fill out that form?
Yeah, it's officers.
So but you're the manager, you're not part of the,
Correct.
okay, so you would not have to fill it out?
No, I do.
He does,
I'm
He
sorry.
sits
because he
with the board.
recommends policy.
I'm also in charge of implementing too, so because of that, any conflicts of interest would be of concern. That's one of the differences between Jay and myself, is that I would not be able to do a swim school, because that's very clear. I have control over the programs. Jay does not.
So you can start a business here
No.
too?
No, I
You
can't.
can't.
He just so explained,
Just
I
said-
confused, so,
I know that.
but Jay's the program manager, and you're the pool manager,
No, I'm not the board manager, I'm general.
general manager.
It's similar to a department manager. It's very similar to a lot of other agencies. You have a department manager, then you have a rec supervisor, and under those you have rec coordinators, then you have pool managers underneath it. These are pretty common. You can see them in a lot of other entities. I'd be happy to go over with you anytime. So, especially you, Sophia, since you have a lot of interest, I'm more than happy to talk in very great detail about all this.
I would just like to tell the board, I respect that it's your decision and you are voted in. I am still not completely comfortable with the contract. I understand it might be open-ended, that sounds to me like a monthly or something. The rental space, right? It seems to me like that could be easily discontinued without jeopardizing the legal aspect of employment. And it seems to me that that could remove ethically any concern. I understand he's very valuable service staffers, and so I don't say that lightly, but I hearing back from this, like the citizens and the taxpayers, what they want, what services they like, and they know, you know, I'm not asking for something immediate, but maybe that we consider this in a few months.
The meeting is being live streamed, so a lot of people can look at it on YouTube.
I would like to second what you said, I'm sorry, I don't know your name. I think essentially the charge should be given to the person who has a business as well as an employee. He should choose one, but you can't do both. He gets to choose, if he's feeling, if he doesn't do a Facebook, he should do that. I just don't know how you can do both.
To be clear, his wife runs the program, he just teaches, so.
But we all must be thinking. She is, again, this is another, legally, yes, the SIM screen in her name, but, I mean, you don't have to be like, everybody's entitled to any of themselves, they're not, people are human beings, that's an interest.
Thank you for clarifying, and I think, you know, I would be willing to like think about this and come back in a few months if the board is open to that. I would just like to know a little bit more about what the options are and how the neighborhood, especially the neighborhood, the taxpayers, the district, how they feel about the programs and what could be possible.
And one structured way of doing that is that we get more people on the board, and at future board we have to discuss what efforts have been made to recruit people in the locality to be on the board. We still have at least 2 people who don't live here, that's, I mean, technically, yes, you might have more in the area, but, you know, it's just so, and I don't wanna get personal, because I see it as a broader issue, but how is this okay?
It isn't okay.
How is what okay?
Except you
How
talk,
is it okay if people don't live here out on the board? Technically, you might own a home here, but that's not right. That you still assert your right to be
We
on the
have no
board.
interest, you're saying?
I'm sorry?
We have no interest?
It's not a question of having interest, not over somebody who actually lives here, that's the point.
I don't have a difference, because
Actually-
I need to serve the people who rent my home, and I need to make sure that the area serves that.
That might be so, but I don't think your interests, our rights, those people who actually live here. And also, I think it's another issue that can be discussed in the future is how many years have each of you been on the board, and what efforts have you all made individually to diversify the board, to recruit people onto the board, you know, which reflects more the current demographics of this area.
what if the
What
guy
efforts
lives
have you all
out?
made?
To run,
I'm sorry?
you are welcome to run.
Yeah.
That is not the right response, I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's not
I'm
saying
sorry
you
too.
do it, no,
I'm
that's
sorry.
not the right response. The
Well,
response
I
is to say,
appreciate
Okay,
everything
I think
you've done.
I think ethically, I think the responsibility to, you know, when I stepped off a particular board, I made sure that I wasn't the board with a bunch of other people who, you know, possibly be on board. And up to them, and then people I propose to see what they want to do, but, you know, and you can't be on the board in perpetuity, that's just not ethically right. Legally also, I don't know, but anyway.
Sorry, Mr.
I
Kennedy.
think the line between the management and this board has been corrupted, okay? Because there's too much, we love Kevin stuff going on
I
here.
didn't notice that you stepped out looking for, stepped off the board here.
I didn't step off the board.
Right.
What do you mean?
Exactly.
I went and got 2 people to run. Did
We
you?
have someone else.
I really have.
Okay, yes,
Really
we
like
do.
to
From
hear
what
what
I've
he has to
seen,
say.
Thank you.
I feel that I feel that the fact that, oh, it should only be people that who live here, I feel like that should run. I feel like I see Steve here all the time exercising.
Oh, yeah, well, Steve's here all the time.
Yes, but.
He micromanages.
Yes, but with that said, even if that was true, in that case, I see people who come here who may drive here, but like, I don't see too many people from Cupertino, like, representing here. I see a lot of people from Mountain View. I'm from Santa Clara County, I live all the way, I come here, I'm here representing my voice. What I'm saying is the people here are people not from Cupertino. What I'm saying is the people on that board are not from Cupertino, yes, but they're here because they spend time here. They're here, they're part of the community in a way.
What is your point?
What I'm saying is, I was just disagreeing that like it was wrong that it's bad to have people not from this local area. I feel that there are people here who are the people here from not in this area, but they're here actively, much more active than the people from the local area.
Should we ask Prime Minister Modi to be in the White House then? Because he was often enough. He was very often.
Okay, well, one of
Point of view, because like, I also don't live in this little neighborhood, but I think looking at what we should be
be more active in like advertising us to like, you know, did you hear like the taxes?
Exactly, that is the point.
No, no,
The point is that
I
first of all,
no, I agree with that,
Yeah.
we should be advertising more, but I also think that it's in the factor that we have to keep with the community we already have, while also trying to build our community. So like, yes, our community right now is not like 100% or like even 50% like the neighbors here, and I think that should change, like we should be adding
make
more.
it 90, honestly.
I mean, it's not,
That's so different.
but that's the thing, is that not everyone wants to use a swimming pool.
But not all people know
No,
that.
I know, I agree with that.
You
No,
don't
I-
even know it exists.
Yeah, no, I'm not
You guys
against that, like I think we should.
Talk among yourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I second.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Saturday Night Live, and you know, the humor.
Next meeting is December 15th.
Thank you.
And I also, I really enjoy hearing from other people who are here.
Well, you know, I have on so many other issues, I thought that high time get involved with this.
Yeah.
So thank you.
So there's many people who said that, because it's such a stark.
Well, you're all,
So, are you joining by chance?
This is Sophie.
Yes, I saw recognizing the photo as he posted on, next door.
I just wanted to check your email.
Oh, congratulations.
It's gonna be a challenge.
I know you have my photos with me.
Yeah, you can see what.
This is all picnic.
But I think that you're
It's,
in context, and,
it's funny because
you know, I